Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. We are here giving you guys Put a Ring on It. Yes, I lost the countdown. I didn't put it on, guys. My bad. But no worries. Today we're going to talk to you guys about episode 5. Yes, it's been quite an interesting journey so far. I think this has probably been one of the most interesting kind of episodes, I think, especially with Jess and Erica. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, I was rooting for Jess, like, yeah, Jess, yeah. And after today, oh my days, I'm sorry. A week? It takes a week for you to disappear and choose another baller? I'm so sorry. Okay, Jess is gonna get my smoke tonight. Okay, all right, nothing personal, just behavior. Okay, just nothing personal, just behavior. Okay, but we got to see a little bit more of Laronda and also as well. What's his name now? Sean. And I think there was something that was really interesting, and maybe I may be reaching, right? But I got the same feeling that I got with Ryan and Clara in the reunion. This hand that keeps coming to touch people on the back of their head while they're talking about their dating experience in the car just gave me the Ryan and Clara situation when it was like Ryan and Clara asked him about their marriage at the reunion, and his hand was just like, yeah. And it feels like the controller vibe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying she's a like real controlling abusive, but more of a case of like she knows how to soothe the bear in a way to get him to behave as she wants him to behave. But I think she's starting to realize little boy's growing up, and the control methods may not be working the way she wants. We had Darian and Alexia. Oh my days. Do you know what? I am in the middle. I'm going to tell you why I'm in the middle. I definitely agree with Alexia, the fact that, 14 years, you've put the hard graft in, you put the work in, and my man's on the show and he's going for 4 dates, right, with Kai, which makes it feel like he's really, really liking Kai and he may potentially leave. But I also get Darian's perspective too, which is, if we're on this show, you know the process. Like, you agree to be on this show. You can't now dictate how you want it to go. And so, yes, I mean, he definitely is liking Kai. Let's be very frank and very honest. And you know what? I think he just wants to have his cake and eat it a little bit. He doesn't want commitment from Kai. He just wants a little bit of fun. Okay, and he's trying to dance in that gray area. Do you know what I mean? But his excuse of why he's not going on another date with Kai, when he told Kai blatantly, nothing can stop me from going on a date with you, tells me all I need to know. He be capping. Okay, so those are the 3 couples we're going to talk about today. But let me hit the little intro and get my crew on. Little Blackbird, you know what time it is. Yes, guys. If you haven't watched the live before, let me mute everyone first before we get going. If you haven't watched the live before, guys, this is where I draw on my super panel team to come and talk to us about what they saw in the show. You may have also seen Sean last night, a few days ago as well, on Maria's panel as well. Love that. Guys, I always love the interconnectivity. I like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you, Sean, as well, for joining that panel as well. And I saw a few of you guys in the comment section as well. We want to see more of this interconnectivity, yeah? Because we want to see each other grow. We want to win together, yeah? But yes, my super panel team are here tonight, and they are ready, okay, to give us their thoughts. Hey, Chef Jay, you're right. They're ready to give us their thoughts tonight. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it, and I think we're going to have a really great conversation. Bit more of a smaller team, which I think will be good as well. Keeps the intimacy a little bit better, and we can actually maybe we can have a few more opinions coming out. We might have a little bit of maybe we might have some disagreements. You never know. Like, I like a bit of disagreements. It's good. Okay, different points of view makes us learn a bit more, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Cool. So, hello team. How you lot doing? You lot right? Yeah. Chef Jay, pleasure to see you again. Brittany, we like to see you here, sis. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Drew, appreciate you. Sean, appreciate you too. Chris Nathan, appreciate you as well. All right, yeah. The team have come strong. Okay, I saw you guys in the group chat. You all have some opinions. Okay, so let's start strong. All right, let's start strong because I think this one's personal for me. Let's start with Jess and Eric. Yeah, let's start with Jess and Eric. You know what I mean? Like, let's start with them. Okay, it took a week. Is what I'm titling it. It took a week. Okay, because it was a real good conversation with Dr. Nicole. So let me get you guys' opinion. So, because since Sean, I know Sean will come with some strong, strong vibes. Sean, open up mic and give us your thoughts, bro. Like, what was your thoughts around the Jess, Dr. Nicole, and Eric conversation? Because I really felt like a week. That's all it takes.
Yeah, man, so many thoughts. So let's start with the fact that um, we've been on this Jessica needs depth train, right? And what that's about, some of the folks are giving her so much latitude, and how is Eric speaking to her? And now we hear some of the context, right? They break up for 1 week and she's already with another football player. Come on. Like that's what dude has been talking about. There is no depth, there's no substance. You want a marriage, but you can't weather the storm, and you don't know how to handle a relationship, and you can't be trusted. So what do you think is going to happen? And then to not only hear when Dr. Nicole asked if they were still in contact, well, no, oh no, oh actually he FaceTimed me. Oh no, it was from a different number. Okay, where are the excuses going to end? And when do you take accountability for your behavior? Like, come on. Then let's just fast forward to the session when they're together. And I'm sorry. I get, I'm not a therapist, so I really don't know, the nuances, but I'm over Dr. Nicole's analogies. She needs to go back to the drawing board. Come on. You play football, right? Okay, I'm expecting to hear a strategy. You're going to talk about a play. You're going to talk to us about some level of sportsmanship. No. Um, do you see the cheerleaders? Do they walk and do splits at the same time? Lady, come on. Like, at the end of the day, what are you talking about? How are you helping them? Talking about somebody doing splits and walking at the same time, and this girl Jessica just admitted that she cheated. So I don't know. And then if we go into the date that she had with that guy, and she was like, this is what I wanted. This is always what I wanted. Every outfit. And again, I get it. She's a beautiful girl. She's got a bad body. That's awesome. But every single date she's going to, every single nook and cranny, every part of her body is exposed. And you expect somebody to you want depth. You want somebody to see you for you. But the only thing she's ever saying is she's liking the compliments. And when she's on the date with the guy, supposedly he's just telling her everything she wants to hear. You just met him. And all of a sudden, just because he said it, it's so. Just because somebody said it, it's so. Where's the vetting process? So I am thoroughly, thoroughly annoyed, frustrated, aggravated. I can't think of another adjective, but I'll get back to you on it. So that's those are my thoughts.
Let me ask you a question before you vacate the scene. So let me ask you a question, a real question.
Yeah.
Does her being an IG model, good looking girl, automatically equate to her not being able to have depth?
I think it plays a part in it, but Jessica's actions are what play a part in her not having depth, right? We found out she's a mom. Like I I'm just seeing irresponsibility. I'm seeing immaturity, and I don't know her from a can of paint, right? But I'm looking at the actions, I'm looking at how she moves, and then I'm looking at what she says, and they don't line up. And her career definitely plays a big part in it because going right back to that, what did she say? Oh, me and the guy are still communicating on Instagram. So he's still liking her pictures, still has access to her because that's her career. So you're always going to have people that have access to you. You enjoy that attention immensely. So you don't know how to differentiate the career from your real life. So those two go hand in hand for me when it comes to her.
I like the points. Like the points. Thank you, Sean. I knew you come strong. Appreciate you as always, brother. All right, let me get one of the ladies involved, because since we've only got me and Sean anyway. Let me get one of the ladies. I want to ask a question though. I want to ask a question. I'm seeing if somebody can explain why someone like Jessica, not necessarily Jessica, but someone like Jessica, may require the attention that she's seemingly craving, right? Because we know that she took a week to go off with old dude, right? But I'm seeing, can someone answer the question as to why someone would rush into another situation, why someone needs that level of attention consistently? It seems like that's what she needs from old dude, right? And anybody else who's around, if she feels like she's not getting it. So I wanted someone to speak to that a little bit. I don't know if anyone's willing to do that for us. Anybody? You can open your mic if you're willing to go. No.
I'll go ahead.
Okay. Brittany, then Chef J. Brittany, you were first, so go for it, and then Chef J will talk to it.
So for me, I feel like just because she needs the attention, it's giving me that she wants the validation from others because she can't give it to herself, right? I feel like that's part of it. We don't really know her as of yet. The substance part is very shallow, so we don't know too much about her yet. We only know she has two kids, two daughters, and she doesn't really know how to be vulnerable yet. She's, something that's still being worked on, and Dr. Nicole needs to dig deep with her when it comes to that, because then I feel like that is the next level of understanding why is it that she's trying to rush into getting married. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I can give, because I don't have enough information about Jessica to really understand why she's asking for that. But usually women, I guess, who are like that, I don't really want to give too much judgment on it, but because I don't know what it feels like to need all of that attention. But for her, I feel like it's because she doesn't know how to be with herself. She doesn't know how to be alone. And she's probably used to just getting that much attention. And that's the way she's used to receiving it. So she's doing things out of habit. I mean, usually when someone loses that type of attention, it really starts to make them think, what is it about me that I need to work on? And that takes time to get to. And it takes a turning point in someone's life. And that might be now. So, yeah, that's really all I have about her.
Thank you very much, Brittany. I appreciate it. Chef J.
It can be one or two things. One, I did pick up because since the show started, she's been biting for Eric's attention constantly. So one is that's her love language. It's the words of affirmation. To this magnitude, however, it seems like either I'm going to say there's some daddy issues where her dad is either absent in her life or he was overly attentive to her. So it's one of those two things, because we don't have enough information on her backstory, on her childhood history or whatnot. I can't say which route it is, but one of those two things could be it. On top of the fact that her love language is words of affirmation, because no matter which date she's on, she's always looking for somebody to compliment her, tell her about herself, just put her on this pedestal that she's created for herself or whatnot. She wants everybody to keep her there. I know everybody wants to go in on Eric about the way he addresses her and talks to her, because sometimes when it's overly needed, it gets tiring. And it's like, I can only tell you I love you so much before it just feel like it's a habit. I'm not really showing you the love and stuff. So what that's saying is I can only tell you you're beautiful, so many times. I can only say you look good so many times within the same outfit of the day. Like, girl, I can't keep doing this for you all day long. If you don't feel it within yourself, you're draining me by pulling it out of me. To address the episode, I'm going to address it from an athlete standpoint as far as Eric is concerned. As an athlete, we're going through a lot mentally. Each game, we're preparing for the win. If we win, if we lose, there's a lot on us. Every day is a new day. Practices, dealing with other players, coaches, all of that stuff. That's a lot to deal with. Then when we get to a phase that this has been my whole life, now that part of my life is coming to an end. I don't know what to do. I don't have anything else to fall back on, and you're supposed to be my support system. And in this moment, instead of supporting me, no matter what it is that I'm going through, you choose to break up with me, because that's what I figured. It must have been her breaking up with him or whatnot. You choose to break up with me, and within a week's time, you're with a whole nother athlete. That tells me automatically you're not in it for me. You're in it for the lifestyle. You don't want love. You want the lights, glamour, the action, all of the other stuff that comes with it, but you're not looking to be with somebody seriously. So why would you expect Sean to just automatically, Eric to automatically jump up in your arms and run to you when you're ready? When you couldn't be there for that man when he was at his lowest point or whatnot. As an athlete, I'm going through a lot. So when that's part of me is no longer there, that's a hard thing to deal with. And then what got me is when Dr. Nicole asked her, she asked Sean, Eric, gosh, why is Sean in my mouth? She asked Eric, why, did you know this or whatever? Instead of pause, y'all, for laughing. Don't laugh at that. Why? I just caught what I said. Sorry. Why did you even know that you was coming down on her like that? And he was like, no, this is the first time I'm hearing it. So again, there's that depth. You're not even telling this man that what he's asked you what he said to you when he said that he's not happy. You didn't even bother to ask him, why is he not happy? The not happiness might not have to do nothing with you directly. You're just a casualty in the war that he's battling with himself about not being an athlete anymore and trying to figure out what to do next. So if you would have had the conversation like, babe, so what is it that's not making you happy? Figure out if it is even you before you decide to jump in the pants of somebody else. Like, girl, and you jumped in the pants before you even broke up with this relationship because one, you were talking to this person prior to even breaking up. So you're building up all of that because I'm pretty sure there's, oh, you're so beautiful. You look so gorgeous today. How you doing? So this person's giving you all the words of affirmation that you're looking for while this man is over here struggling to try to figure out what he's going to do with his life flex. Like, come on. So yeah, if I was a man, no, I wouldn't be rushed to marry you either. Like dead ass, like, excuse my French, but like I can't trust you're going to be there in those hard times that we have in a marriage. Because marriage goes through ups and downs, highs and lows. So if you're not there prior to the marriage and we were just doing this relationship thing, I can't depend on you in a marriage or whatnot. So we'll just leave it at that point for right now.
Good points. Good points.
Kojo, can I add real quick?
Before you do, I'm gonna pass about someone else quickly before you act. All right, I'll bring it back to you. Don't worry. Drew, let me ask you. Why are you looking surprised? You ain't ready? You better be. I'm joking. No. So I want to ask you a question. So obviously, is social media the issue with Jess, or is these issues before the social media? So like her, let's say for instance, she's got such a huge fan base on social media, so many different likes, people, showing her love, men in her DMs and probably just wanting to fawn over her. Is social media the issue that's made her mind to have quick attention, or is this something that's present before social media? Just want to ask you that, and you can talk a little bit more about Jess and Eric. Go for it, Drew.
Okay, in my opinion, I would say it's human nature to want validation. It's also human nature to want to be desired. So I do agree that Jessica is quite dependent on, I guess, the attention that she receives. We can see from the things that she says and how she acts that, of course, it makes her feel good about herself. Do I think that's a social media issue? No, I don't, because obviously I think that was there before, and it's the persons on social media that bring that energy there. Of course, it has made it worse because now you can actually see if someone likes or doesn't like you, and for some people that can drive them off the edge. But in respect to the relationship part of things, I must be the only one here that I don't agree. I just don't agree with anything that was said earlier, because I think it's a build up. When I heard their background story when they were speaking to Dr. Nicole, what I understood from things was, yes, he retired. He wasn't fired. It's not like it happened by surprise. Usually when you're going to retire, you know what's happening. So from her standpoint, when she began to explain, it sounds like he retired. He, I guess, didn't feel like he had a sense of purpose anymore. And the key point was she felt like he was taking that frustration out on her. So even though she may have started talking to someone within the space of a week on Instagram, there must have been a build up to that point. So for me, I don't think she deserves all the smoke. I feel like the smoke needs to be divided, because if you're out here acting out of pocket and directing all this bad energy towards me, I'm not saying she's in her right to cheat, but I can understand where the breakdown was, because it sounds like they weren't communicating at all. She said he was not speaking to her. He was just releasing all this frustration on her, and it eventually led to a split. Now, I'm not sure if the talking to this dude happened when they split, because initially that's what I thought. Like they decided to go their separate ways, and then she started talking to old boy. If that was the case, I don't think she did anything wrong.
I like that nuance. Let me ask you a question. So with that situation, I do actually agree with you as well that there was obviously some kind of build up that led to that point, because they made that point about the fact that, you know, he was taking out his anger or frustrations, the fact that he couldn't complete the league on her. But she actually also couldn't communicate that. She never communicated that his anger was actually something that was hurting her, as to what pushes her now towards that other football player. I'm genuinely asking you a question. So question is, why would someone not open their mouth and say how they feel? Like if your partner's consistently railing on you or getting on you or not treating you with the love and care that you really want in that situation, but instead you wait till the relationship's done and then quickly jump into another thing, why does a person not say or speak up in those moments within a relationship?
Well, I can't speak for Jessica, but in the event of that situation, I can imagine that perhaps she felt like he was not very approachable at the time, because if someone is, you know, in a state where they're so frustrated and so caught up in their own situation. But I do agree that's something that she definitely should have done. They should have both sat down and spoke about the current status of their relationship. But the only thing I can conclude is that it was just very difficult to communicate with him at that time, because he himself said he was going through a lot. And he was not the most, forthcoming at that time. He said, I was in a very dark space. So just imagine trying to speak to someone about something that's currently not really on their mind. They're all wrapped up in their own stuff. So that's where I would see, like, that's the only thing that I'm saying. Like, I just feel like she deserves a bit of a break.
No, I appreciate that point. Thank you very much, Drew. I appreciate a different perspective. Like I said, it's good to have different perspectives tonight. Yeah. Chris Naffa, let's get you involved as well in the conversation. Does as Drew has kindly pointed out here, and I think we have to add that nuance to it. Jess is, I believe, rightly getting some smoke, but maybe is there a case that she shouldn't get as much smoke? Is there nuance to the conversation, maybe?
I think there could be. I do know that Eric isn't always the best at communicating how he feels. We've seen that. So I feel like communication has been an issue for them for some time. Um, I I do believe that Jessica felt like Eric's anger, silence, frustration, whatever it was about her. I do feel that she felt that. And so she felt like if I'm the issue or if you're not happy with me or our relationship, then let me step away. That's what it seemed like. Um, Similar to when he said that, even though the way he said it was not cool, when he said that one of his dates was the best conversation he's ever had, she instantly started crying because now it was about her. You're saying that I'm not, somebody you like to talk to, or our conversation isn't deep. So I feel like when he was saying he wanted depth, that's maybe one of the scenarios that he was talking about, like him going through whatever emotions he was feeling and her not being there for him. But it's important for you to communicate that as well. So I feel like there's definitely a breakdown in communication with both of them. As far as Jessica wanting the validation, I do feel like it's something that she may feel like she needs. If you were told you are beautiful for such a long time, it really becomes a part of your identity. It's something that you are very conscious of, because if the focus is always about the way you look, your hair, your body, then that becomes your main focus, right? And so I feel like him kind of removing that from her, she felt, like she had to get that from somebody else. The whole week thing, that's kind of soon. However, I feel that they have a couple decisions to make. Either he's going to forgive her and they're going to move on and she cannot talk to that guy anymore, or they're going to stay where they are, So it's kind of like, what do we do from here? But I definitely feel like the communication needs to be better on both sides. And she has to make him believe that she's really in this, because I didn't know that, like, she talked to the guy and then they talked again. That's an issue, because it's like, is this part of the past, or is this one of those things that's continuously going on, right? You're talking to him, you guys are FaceTiming. If it's behind us, let it be behind us. And so there's a lot of work to be done there, for sure.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely hearing you guys. I know Chef Jay wants to add and Brittany wants to add as well. I'll let you guys add in a second. I think just hearing all you guys' opinions and your thoughts as well around the Jess and Eric situation. Like I said, I definitely hear what you guys were saying. I hear both sides, and I don't disagree with either perspective. I think there's some nuance to the conversation. I think just with Jess, I do believe there is an incessant need for validation, which goes beyond the norm. It's the norm. I don't think she has a normal want of validation. I think there is insecurity there. And that's partly also what led her to that football player. As much as I believe Eric obviously potentially, and I think also Eric, this is my personal thought, I think he intentionally starves her of attention too, because he's very much aware of the fact that, I think especially after that incident, I'm sure in his head he's probably thinking, I'm not giving you that attention no more, because what you've done with it is done this. Do you know what I mean? And I think he has a major decision on his hands. I think also he dated this girl in a capacity, and I think he has to take responsibility for this. And maybe you guys can talk on this after Chef Jay and Brittany add. I think he has to take responsibility, not necessarily for the relationship, no, in terms of accountability, in terms of his choice. Because his level at the time of choosing her seems like it was so focused on being a status symbol rather than being somebody who has depth. You're asking for depth. If you have depth, it's because you more than likely had depth the entire time, but you intentionally chose a woman who looked good on the outside but lacked the qualities that you need internally to actually help you. And I think that's his problem. I think he's really got to look at himself and say to himself, I actually made a decision at that point in time, which was nothing to do with actually longevity. It was more of a case of, you're a baddie, you're a great girl, you look good. If I put you on the Instagram and someone sees me with you, everyone's gonna be like, that's the girl that you've got the girl, you've got the girl, bro. And it's not a long-term thing. And I think he's starting to realize that now. And now he's at a place where you want depth. You're now asking her to do something she wasn't asked to do in the very beginning. And that's not her fault. That's his, because that's his choice. You know what I'm saying? And I think he has to take responsibility for that. I think he has to take responsibility for that choice that he made at the very beginning. And I think he has to take hold of this relationship and ask himself a real question. Am I going to go on? If I am, I'm going to have to allow her that she's never going to have the depth I want. She's never going to get there, like, more than likely, right? She's not going to get there. You're asking someone to do a complete 360, and it doesn't work like that in an instant. And I think there's a lot of mistrust there from what she did in terms of after a week, What is interesting about that situation is Jess was talking to this guy through the relationship. This is not new. So that was already present. She wasn't doing anything mad, but she was talking to the guy through the relationship. And when the relationship came to an end, that's when she then moved on to that guy for a week. And I want to end on this and let Chef J and Brittany add. Her saying, she said, I'm here with you. I'm here with you is one of the worst reassurances you'll ever have in the history of relationships. You were here with me. Was it not long ago you were here with me and you went that way? That we're here with you means nothing. Like, that's just not going to convince anybody that you are safe and that you are consistent and that you're going to stay out of trouble. Okay, so I think she might need to find another way of convincing him that she's definitely here, because that excuse never works. But let me I'm gonna let Chef J go first, just because it was on the same conversation you wanted to add on, and then I'll let Brittany go, right? Because she was adding on the same conversation we just finished. Go for it, Chef J.
Okay, Drew, I want to address 2 points for you. Nothing against you, because I do respect where you're coming from. It does take two to tango. So yes, both of them played a part in it. But we'll address the retirement part first.
Yeah.
Basketball, most players will say about the year, this is my last year, whatever, and stuff like that. Baseball is about the same thing. Those are two different types of contact sports. Football is a very physical contact sport, because retirement can come because it's a forced retirement. It's not necessarily a planned retirement with football players for the most part. The way he mentioned it sounded like it was a forced retirement, because he still wasn't settled in him that he was retired. He didn't finish playing out his career. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times they get retired because of the contact, depending on the position that they're playing, head injuries, different type of injuries, or just the fact that the team let him go and he didn't get picked up nowhere else. So he might be being nice on himself, saying retired or whatnot, because he could have just been let go from the team. They get dropped all the time for any reason. So that's still something that he's still dealing with at this moment, because he's not settled with it. Because even that moment when he said it to Dr. Nicole, it was still hurting him that he's no longer playing or whatnot. Now, if you looked at an athlete that planned their retirement, they're okay with it. They're like, I retired. I have all these other things I was planning on doing and stuff like that. He is not there yet because he's not okay with it. The second thing I wanted to address is the fact that you were saying that how he was not in his right state in that moment. Well, when you're in a long-term relationship, when you're in a marriage, at some point you're going to get old. You're going to get sick. In those moments, you're not going to be in your right state. You're going to act ugly, irrational, say nasty things to people or whatnot. But if that person's supposed to be there with you, they're there with you. And they understand that you're not in your right state. So I would still want to take up for Jessica saying, yes, they both had played a part in it. But if you're telling me you wanted me to be 100% with you and go down the aisle with you, but you can't hold me down when I'm not in my right state, when I get old and decrepit and I can't move and I can't do things on my own no more and I need you, are you going to be there for me? Are you going to run away when I can't tell you how beautiful you are today because something else in my mind is not clicking? So those are the things that he's looking at when you turn your back on an athlete in those moments. When you turn your back on any type of person in those down moments, that's what they're looking at. Your loyalty to them is no longer valid. So it comes like off a little bit like, you know, I can't trust you with my heart and my body, my soul, all of these things in the long run, because in this one time, this 1 week moment that I had, you up and left me. And depending on how his childhood is, if he got any type of abandonment issues, that's a red flag automatically for him. So he's going to run away real quick. Now, I do understand he came back, so there is some love there. But, you know, that's a different story we have to address on why he did choose to come back, because most men won't even come back to you after they've been cheated on. So, you know, I give him credit for that. I give them credit for both being here trying to make it work, even though they both had issues of infidelity through this relationship, him at the beginning and her in the middle. But you guys gave him smoke about him playing the field while he was unsure about her, where she's supposed to be sure. And 1 week later, she up and gone. I don't know. Nothing against you, Drew, though. I love you, girl.
No, I do agree that I think, and just to add to that, I definitely agree that, because I think, and that's what I'm saying. I think Jess got serious insecurity issues which go before Eric happened. Because originally when we did the first panel week, right, we were thinking they both did a madness, okay, right? At the start of the relationship. I don't know if that's still true, because we're kind of getting a bit more tidbits about what the situation is. I don't know if this is a separate situation to the actual situation that they talk about in the very first kind of episodes. I guess we have to wait and see on that. But definitely, I do believe that Jess has got insecurity issues, and that drove her to find someone who can provide the energy that she needed in that moment to feel loved and cared for. And I don't think that's right. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's right at all. So she deserves all the smoke she's getting. That's simple, right? My extra additive is, what is he going to do now? Because my thought, as much as I can smoke her all day, but I'm looking at him. Like, I look at all men when I'm looking at the situation. What are you going to do? Because you can't trust her, right? She turned her back on you in that moment. You can't trust her, but you still want her. And I'm looking at him like, okay, if you can't trust her and you still want her, what's keeping you there? Is it really love? Is it really love? Or you still hold on to that status yourself? Then I'm not trying to smoke him. I'm trying to get the behavior as to why you're holding on to this girl, right? If you're Eric, you still got it, right? You can get other girls. It's clear you can. So why are you still holding on to this one? She has no depth for you, and she turned her back in the most vital and critical moments of a man, when you're at your bottom and your least. She's not to be trusted. Why are you still there? That's my question now to him. Why are you still there? Something is keeping you there. And I don't think it's just love. Honestly, I don't think it's just love. I think he's stuck on something. That's why I keep saying he keeps talking about depth. I'm looking at you like, before you look at her for depth, have you sorted out your issues? Because I think that's why you're still there. But let me let Brittany jump in. I know you want to say something. If anyone else wants to jump in after, I'll let you jump in as well before we move on to the next couple. Go for it, Brittany.
Just to go off of what you were saying about where Eric is now and why he's still there. I feel like he's not in limbo, but he's in between a transition. Like, do I still want to keep her on my arm? And if I do, am I going to lose out on what I had when I was playing football? He might still be trying to get back into the game. Who knows? I don't know. But on the other hand, it looks as though he's trying to move on as well within his life and move on from football. But the question is now, can I bring Jessica with me? Will she have the capacity to be there for me when things go awry? Because yes, with an athlete, even after the game, there's a lot of other things that come into play, especially if you play football, with it being such a heavy contact sport. Like, we don't know if this man is going to suffer from CTE down the line. Is Jessica going up and leave him? And I know that's something he's truly thinking about, because as you watch him from week 1 till now, you see that he's kind of letting up on the grip just a little bit. And when somebody is doing that, you can tell they're really thinking about whether or not, do I want to keep this person in my life? But I feel like he's holding on partly because they do have a bond, and he's holding on to potential, possibly. But he's really starting to see that it may not get to that point for her because she does have a lot of insecurity when it comes to validation. And that is not something you just, let go of overnight. Like you really have to dig deep and understand why is it that, I hold so tight to validation from other people, right? Because otherwise she wouldn't be wearing the clothes that she's wearing all the time. Like literally I can see her nipples coming through her shirt. No, there's a lot of men who are not going to necessarily wife that, right? I'm not saying just because of that, but that is an aspect. And there's a way to carry yourself if where Eric wants to go, is she going to fit that bill? Can she change, right? And that change is requiring growth. Is that growth going to come? Is she going to see that? And the other thing is when they were talking to Dr. Nicole about why they broke up, just to give another aspect of perspective, I feel like when Jessica said that she started talking to this guy after a week, usually sometimes with women, there's a buildup. And, the week, it is pretty quick. It does seem very shallow, but we don't know how much of the hits she was taking from him, right? But then when you come to the question that she asked him, which is, are you happy? I feel like she just took the no and ran with it instead of asking for context. Like, are you not happy with me? Or is it something else within you or that's happening to you that I don't know about that is not making you happy? And even on his end, I don't know if he asked, not asked, but gave more context to the answer of no. Because I feel like it could have been prevented if she was going to go off and be with someone else. Like, I feel like that situation could have been prevented through communication. But again, they both have issues with communicating. They don't know how to do that because context is key a lot of the times in communication. You can't just take a simple no and run with it. Like, you have to find out why or what, when, where, how. Like, you got to ask all of those questions to get a full understanding of what somebody is dealing with. And when it comes to Jessica, understanding what Eric is going through in regards to him either retiring from football or he got dropped, like that's a shock to the system for someone who played pro ball. Even anybody playing in high school, like you just get dropped out of nowhere, but with no, it's not even about the explanation, but the fact that you got dropped and there's really no way for you to go back and there's no other option at the time, he's not really thinking about her. So when you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship, you guys are serving each other. There's going to be times where you have to put yourself on the back burner and gain an understanding of why your partner is not doing well. I don't think she has the capacity to do that. And I think that is one thing that is really sitting on Eric's mind. And he's wondering right now whether or not if he wants to continue being with her. Now, he won't really say until the process is over, but I think he's really trying to see where she ends up at the end of this. Like, can he see her growing? Can he see her trying to gain an understanding for what it is he's going through and if she can be there for him?
Good points. I hear that. Sean, I know you wanna add to the conversation. Just want to add one thing and then let Sean go on. So I'm not smoking Eric, by the way. I'm asking to see where his thought process is, right? Because I remember I was dating someone and the depth wasn't there, right? But I was holding on because she was a baddie. And I mean, she was a baddie. Okay? All right? I wasn't holding on for hope. I was hoping that she was going to change, yes. But I pretty much knew she wasn't going to change. Okay? That's her. And it's not because she's shallow. It's just that I'm of a certain depth. It's not to say that she's actually even shallow, because everyone's level of deep is different, right? Not everyone can come with you to that depth, okay? You have a certain depth, that person may not have it. That's why I don't really want to call just shallow, because necessarily it's shallow to him, but it may be great for someone else, right? That level that she has. So, I mean, I really want to say this. he's asking for death, but I want to ask him, why are you still there? This death is not going to change, bro. You know what I'm saying? Sean, I know you wanna say some things. Go for it, bro. Don't break my internet, please.
So I've been like going at it in these comments, and I just want us to be able to have a conversation where we hold somebody accountable and they're accountable, right? And it can't be two-sided, right? Sometimes we just gotta, not sometimes, we should just look at the actions, look at what the person is presenting to us, and say it like it is. If it were you on the receiving end of what that person did, how would you feel? If you were Eric, would you be so willing to just let everything that transpired go and then still see all the things that are continuing to play out, right? How many women get upset with their man just for putting heart eyes on Instagram, right, for girls? Constantly. And in a lot of instances, rightfully so, right? Because we should not be playing in arenas that are going to lead down a path of things that aren't going to be good for the relationship. So why can't we hold Jess accountable for the things that she's doing that are destructive in her relationship? And this is a woman that says she wants marriage, right? So we're not just playing, this is not a situationship for her. She wants to marry this man, but yet we're involved in these petty games. And you just see her light up every time she feels like she's getting Eric's attention from some jealous action, right? We got to call that out. And yes, Eric is not perfect. And when I criticize or break down things that I see from my perspective that Jess is doing wrong, it doesn't excuse Eric. What it does is hold what it does is hold Jessica accountable for the things that she's doing. And we got to be able to call that out. And unfortunately, unpopular opinion, but this so often happens when we start talking about women, because other women have such a hard time hearing things that other women do wrong, because you start immediately, oh, I can identify that. And if that was me, this is what I would do. Wrong is wrong. And if you know it's wrong, call it out. We can't just lull these people and give them lullabies if something is wrong. If you have a friend, you shouldn't be an echo chamber to your friend if they're doing something wrong. You're doing them a disservice. Iron sharpens iron, right? We know the word. We like to throw it out and use it for our own conveniences, but do we use it in all instances? And are we really looking to help people get better? And if we're friends, or if we're looking from somebody from that third perspective, and we're like, hey, this doesn't sit well with me, and if my outcomes or that person's outcomes aren't what they're looking for, then let's look introspectively and see what they can do better. Right? We can't excuse everything away and blame it on somebody else, because ain't nothing gonna change. Ain't gonna be no rings put on nothing. So she wants to get married. She got to do better. Eric wants to get married. Eric got to do better. But this episode was eye-opening, because it was so many things that we've seen all along just kind of like come into fruition. And then to hear that she cheated, it was like, oh, wow. It's like, come on, sis. You got to do better.
Free smoke, come collect it. I hear that. True or Christopher, do you want to add anything else?
Yes, I'd like to answer
Go for it, Drew.
that, please. I agree that wrong is wrong. I agree that we need to hold people accountable. My problem in this situation is we have gotten some context. When we started the show, sorry, let me turn off my fan. When we started the show in episode 1, we got some context to the background of their relationship, and Jessica revealed that throughout the first year of their relationship, Eric was unfaithful. That is a fact. She said that they were together. They agreed that they were, I guess, exclusive or whatever, and he cheated. That's what she told us. We can only work with that information. So where I'm saying, yes, we're holding her accountable, but we also need to hold him accountable. She stuck around. Obviously, they may have worked through that period of their lives. We also don't know the extent of what has happened in terms of how was he taking out this frustration on her. how much, because everyone has their limits. Yes, you're in a relationship. A relationship is somewhat of a contract. You can decide at some point that this is not working for you. Yes, it may sound harsh, but if you're going to come home every day and take out your frustrations on me, am I supposed to stick around for your verbal abuse or physical abuse or whatever it is? I think she's within the confines of her rights to leave, if that's what she wants to do. If afterwards you sort yourself out and you come back and we can have a conversation, and then we decide that, okay, this is where we went wrong, which I'm assuming that's what happened because now they're back together, then that is fine. But no one should stick around because I want to get married, so I need to take whatever you're giving me. All that ride or die stuff, that's rubbish. And the same onus that we have on her is the same energy we need to give him. He doesn't get a pass because he's a man and he was going through a rough time. Everybody goes through a rough time. Everybody has lost a job. You don't get to act a fool or be verbally or physically abusive and get a pass.
Sorry about that. I meant to was trying to move mad. Okay. The conversation just spiced up. I like it. Yes. Two different sides. Hey, I'm hearing Drew and I'm hearing Sean as well at the same time. Chris Naffa, did you want to break the ice a little bit between the two?
I see both points. My only thing is this. They've been together, I think, a sum of 3 years or so. You can't hold the grudge forever. It's going to have to be work through it and see if this can go to marriage, or not be with her and get somebody who fulfills all the needs that he has. Because I don't want to misspeak, but I feel like they said that they took a break and then she started talking to this guy. So is that cheating? I don't know, right? I say it's not. However, we have also discussed that there may have been conversations with this particular person prior to the break. So now that's a whole nother situation. But the whole thing is this. I don't trust Eric, right? He doesn't trust her. Is he willing to work through that? Even though he may not ever get this depth that he wants? Or does he feel like she's not solid? She won't be a good wife. And maybe I need to meet and find somebody else who can fulfill the needs that I have. So there's really some really big decisions that need to be made. But I do feel that she definitely craves the validation. She needs it, right? Because even on her date, she wanted this man to say that she would be his priority. And I'm like, just have fun. Just have fun. But that was important for her. So that made her feel special. She was blushing because her date, I think his name was Sean, said that, yes, you would be my priority, the priority. I think he said one of my priorities, and she was like, no, the priority. And so I know that that's very important for her, to be the center of attention, to always be validated, to always be, told that she looks great, make Eric jealous, all this stuff. But it definitely stems from something deeper. So there's definitely a decision that they both need to make, because this won't work, right? She's either going to keep wasting her time trying to convince him to marry her, and he's wasting his time trying to change her.
Appreciate it. Just to clarify, because I want to listen to it behind the scenes, guys, she did say she was entertaining the guy, but she didn't meet him during the course of a relationship. Okay, so I'm gonna put it this straight. She was emotionally cheating. It's that simple. Okay, then she went to physically do her madness. So she actually didn't physically cheat, but she did emotional cheating within the course of a relationship. So she cheated. Okay, and I get it. Yeah, she may have felt like she was neglected, but again, she could have quit the relationship earlier, but she didn't. She decided to make sure. She decided to do what I think a lot of us when we're younger. Maybe not even say younger. When we want to have control of how we exit a relationship, we make sure, just like having a job. Okay, you don't just leave the job. She made sure she had one on the side, and that is foul play. Okay, because unlike the job don't care about you. Okay, this is your partner who's supposedly meant to care about you. You cannot have one loaded and ready on the side. Okay, that's not how relationships are supposed to work. You're actually asking for the relationship to break down in the future if you decide to have somebody waiting in the wings, or you've got a thought that this person's waiting in the wings and I'm entertaining them. And again, I think that relates back to Jessica's incessant need for over validation. She really wants to be validated. I think that is an insecurity that's not just about, hey, I want to say that you're beautiful today. I think that goes deeper. I think she needs a consistent need of validation from Eric or someone who's from someone in order to feel secure. So she may have to look into that, and that smoke that you guys have been giving her, I think has been correctly appropriate, has been correctly applied, and is appropriate. But I also do get the other side. If we're talking about the long game and talking about the actual relationship, I do feel that there is not a smoke, but more questions to ask Eric. Like I keep saying, what is it that you really want here in this particular point? And I think this last point before we move on, I think, when you're in a relationship like this where someone's a ball player, if you're insecure and you go into the situation and you've got a part of you that knows how to play the game, you're going to load up men in the wings to equalize the balance, to bring balance to the game, because you may feel like he's got an unfair advantage. At any moment he can leave you with another girl. And I think Jess is not a dumb person. I think she understands the game, you know what I mean? I think she understands a little bit, and I think she loaded up her crew to make sure that if this guy decides, just know I'm going to play the game just as good as you. But I think Eric has got a really big decision on his hands. What are you going to do, sir? If you want depth, you want more, my friend, it may be time to look elsewhere. All right, cool. So let's shift now to another couple. Let's shift to another couple now. Let's talk about Alexia and Darian. The return of the Kai. Okay, because she has come in strong. I know some of you are going to give her smoke, but I like Kai. You know why I like Kai? She says she's going to do a job and she's going to do it well. Okay, she says she's coming in there to terrorize man's relationship. And I always say this, you can't terrorize my relationship unless I want you to. So Kai hasn't got no power in this situation except the power that she's been given. Man, it sounds biblical. You know what I mean? Like, she's not got any power except what she's been given. Okay? She wouldn't even be in a situation if Darian and Alexia are not on this show. She wouldn't be in this position if Darian doesn't give her the room to wiggle. Okay? She wouldn't be in this position if Darian decides, I don't really want you. But he wants that game. He wants that energy. He just probably doesn't want the commitment that she decided to offer to him on this particular episode. And I think she's going to lose. If she really wants a relationship, how you get him is how you lose him. So I hope, Kai, for your own sake, this is part of the game. But if you really are collecting man to be your man, in this situation when you're stealing him from somebody else, I want to let you know how you get him is how you lose him. And there's very few who have a long relationship after stealing somebody from somebody else. How can you trust somebody who you stole and not to be stolen from you? Let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100. Okay? All right. Let's get the conversation flowing. Let's talk about Alexia and Darian. Who wants to kick off the show for me in this particular couple? Let me get Dr. Nundi on now as well, because she was waiting in the wings. Apologies. I was waiting for the right time to bring her on. Who wants to talk about Return of the Kai for me? Do you know what? Drew's never ready, but I'm going to go for Drew, because Drew, I want you to be ready. Go on, Drew. She'll be like, I didn't know. I love that. She, I don't know.
As far as it relates to Darian and Alexia, I've actually grown to like these two a little bit more as the weeks have come along. There are aspects of their relationship that I like. I can see why they like each other. However, I do think it's time for them to terminate their relationship, because I don't think they're on the same page. And that has let a very large window for Kai. And unfortunately, she's using it to her full advantage. For me, she's not my cup of tea. I think she's too forward. Particularly in this episode when they were on their date, her and Darian. The liberty she took to go ahead and speak on Alexia and the type of person that she thought she was. And then she even went as further to say it's time for the relationship to end. That's not her place. But because of how much Darian has let her into their relationship, all the insight he keeps giving her, it has afforded her the ability to be very vocal. And I don't like it. I think it needs to be shut down. She needs to be shut down.
I hear that. Return of the Kai. Thank you very much, Drew. Appreciate that. Dr. Nundi, since you're new to the conversation, I know you've been chatting in the comment section. I've been seeing you there. We're talking about, obviously, Darian and Alexia, and we're talking about Kai. I mean, she really applied some pressure today. I mean, G for pressure. You know what I mean? She really applied pressure. What were your thoughts around how Darian reacted to the pressure that Kai implemented to him?
So just looking at this episode, the one thing I noticed about Darian, he's really looking for a fun time, a good time to really take his mind off of what's going on at home. So him being with Kai was that fun moment. But the minute that she started applying the pressure, that's when Darian's like, I gotta reconsider some things because this is a little too much for me. I don't really work well under pressure, and some guys like they really don't. And for Kai to kind of put that pressure on him, she's trying to force him to make a decision that he's not even ready to do right now. In the simple fact, he can barely make a decision for Alexia. So that in itself, Kai should have just chilled out, continue going on her dates with him and really just let him make his own decisions. But Kai is very headstrong and, she's like that alpha woman. Like, I'm either finna secure this bag or I'm finna go the other direction. And it was clear when she stood up, she said, do I look like the help to you? Do I look like the help to you? When she stood up and she showed her body, like, look what I'm working with. So, okay, you playing these games, I'll be gone in a minute and I go and get somebody else. She understands that based off what she's presenting. But she also knows, like, okay, this man is venting to me. This man is telling me, all of his at-home business, which Darian is not thinking about. Like, he's using her as a vehicle to vent to, but that's not smart. And it was funny when I saw it, because if you look in the background, when they walked into that club or wherever they were at, it said like Babylon's Place, but they might need to change the name and call it Philistine's Place, where Delilah lives, because Delilah was putting that on very thick with the way that she was trying to seduce this man to give her an answer, but he was not feeling that. And sometimes as ladies, I understand, you may have your agenda or your goal in mind, but you need to pay attention to what the guy is saying and or doing. He sees Kai as a fun time. That's what it is right now. I mean, if they went on more dates, would he possibly be like, yeah, I want to be with you? It's possible. But her level of force made him like, nah, we good. And she did not like the fact when he said, but I love her. I love her. That right there made her feel some type of way, like, no, you don't really got it as you think you do. Because why? Yeah, he been with her for 14 years and yeah, they got the issues, and sure enough, he gave you some insight on what's going on, but don't step your boundary. And so Kai is trying to step a couple of boundaries and she's trying to take over. And all that's saying it to me is the same way you said in these previous episodes, oh, I'm nobody's side chick. Well, you're kind of acting like one now. Because that's what side chicks do. Side chicks get demanding. Side chicks start trying to put their foot down. Side chicks start acting like they have a right to something. And guess what? You don't. You're second. You're not first. You're not the one. So until he make his own personal decision on which way he want to go, sit back, chill out, and let it ride. But you looking even worse than she is. You making Alexia actually look better with just how you acting right about now. But that was my spiel that I had got from that. And I hope other ladies out there that are looking, they don't take that approach that Kai is taking, because that can actually turn some guys off and make them run for the hills and not want to deal with that type of persona or attitude as she was presented. So
Good points. Good points, Dr. Nundi. Appreciate you as always. Yes, good strong start. Who would like to add next about this couple, Darian and Alexia? Who should I go to? Chris Natha, thank you. Talk to us, Chris Natha. Kai, has she overstepped the boundary? Is she just laying it on thick? Or, is she generally wanting a relationship with this man? What's your thoughts on the Kai behavior so far?
I feel like Kai wants to win. I don't know if she wants to be in a relationship with Darian. I feel like she wants to win. I feel like Kai has overstepped her boundaries a couple episodes ago. The thing is, what Kai forgot, I think it slipped her mind that she's here dating somebody who's in a relationship. And so it's almost like Darian is her man and he's cheating on her or something with Alexia, and she's all upset. And I'm like, girl, you got to play the role, right? You're here just going on dates. So keep going on dates or stop showing up, right? So, I definitely think that she overstepped her boundaries a couple episodes ago. She's very forward, very in your face. You need to leave her. Do you want to be wild with me? All these crazy questions that she was asking him since date number 1. And I feel like she felt like, okay, I could win him. And I feel like that might be exciting. But at the end of the day, she sees that that's not working. You can't make a man do anything. You can beg, you can curse, you can fight. I mean, you can pout. Men will only do, for the most part, they'll only do what they want to do. You can't force them into a relationship. Maybe some you can, but for the most part, you can't. And so I feel like she really looked crazy this episode. And Darian does not like pressure. We know that from episode 1. That is, I think, the most word. That's the word that he used the most since episode 1 is the word pressure. Don't pressure me. I don't do pressure. He even said that Alexia was giving him pressure and he needed time. Now, you guys know he's had 14 years. So if he thinks that's pressure, these 4 dates, he's like, listen, okay. So it's not going to work. Kai would have to maybe put in a couple more years before he's ready to lock it down. But I thought it was too much. It does feel like at this point they're in somewhat of a relationship because they have been on a couple dates and he has allowed her to push the envelope, so to speak. But I guess I've gotten so used to seeing them together. It wasn't really a big deal for me, but I definitely think she was almost pushing and begging, and you never have to do that. You never have to do that as a woman.
Thank you very much, Chris Nath. I appreciate that. I just want to add and pass on the baton. I think it's really interesting watching Kai. I think she started off really well. She started off really, really well. Okay. And then I think maybe just this episode, she might have just misread situation. And actually that situation, I think it was Dr. Nundi picked it up where he did tell her that he loves Alexia. Okay. Something similar happened actually with them earlier on in the episodes where he was talking about that he's still with Alexia. And then she made a comment. I can't remember what it is. I need to go and find it. And she made a comment, and I realized that whenever Kai sees he's trying to make a comment back about Alexia, she almost tries to wrestle him back away. And I think that's what makes me think: are you actually playing, or are you actually getting caught up? You know what I mean? Like you're getting caught up in your own game, and I like Kai, you're here to test. Don't get caught up and end up falling for the test subject. You know what I'm saying? Like and causing yourself grief and trouble. So I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm watching her, and I'm like, girl, you came here with a plan, and your plan's starting to fail. You might just want to re-strategize. Okay, go cool down, strategize. What I don't like from Kai, and I totally understand that it's part of the game or whatever, but I think we said this before, one of the lowest parts of game that men talk about, the lowest of the lowest, is dumping on another man. Okay, if I have to keep saying that your man is trash, your man ain't good, your man ain't this, to get you to see me in the light, it's the weakest type of game, right? Like, we don't honor that type of game. Not we don't honor game in general, but I'm saying, but if we're gonna honor game as a man, them, you saying, on the phone to the girl like, your man is this, your man is that, is weak. Bro, come with your game, give her the smooth bars, let her feel sweeted, yes. But trashing on another man to get with the girl, I mean, it's just the weakest type of game. So for Kai to do that, I think it's even worse, because I think how women oftentimes are always taught to you guys to be batting for one another. Girl, you know how it is when these men are like, they've got that camaraderie. So for her to now do that, it just looks even more worse. Like, us men don't accept that, but then for her to also do that as well, it just looks even more terrible. It's like you coming in there and just trashing on Alexia, rather than really just focusing on the fact that you're great, you're amazing, and he can like you. I think I think that speaks a lot to the character as well, in terms of how she plays the game. There's a way to play the game, and that ain't cute. I'm just gonna say that straight. That ain't cute, Guy. You know what I mean?
Kojo,
cool.
can I add something?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Also, like, even for Darian, when he first came out to get Alexia from the car, because she'd walked out last episode, he kept saying to her, Alexia, what's your problem with Kai, with the woman, with the other? And it's like, it's not about her. This is me and you. I have a problem with you. Same thing with Kai. Like, you're trying to talk to Darian, talk to him, leave Alexia out of it. You know what I mean? But what Darian did say is that I want to make sure I respect my situation with Alexia. And Kai said something along the lines of, but the situation isn't respecting you, or something along those lines. So she, like you said, it was like almost a back and forth to get him to be on her side. I just wanted to add that point. Appreciate
it, Christopher. Appreciate it. Let me pass the baton over. I have Chef, and I have Brittany. I have Sean. Who wants to go for it, guys? Brittany, go for it.
Okay, so I'll just say this: these two are like, they really have me in confusion, and it's just because it's becoming a lot at this point with them. Because I just feel like they just need to cut it off, cut their losses, and move on. But since they want to continue going, I'll give my piece. Now, when it comes to, before I go to both of them, Kai, like I said, she had Darian in her hands like silly putty from the first maybe 2 or 3 episodes, right? Now that Darian is starting to see Alexis kind of stand up in her own right and feel some kind of way, he wants to respect the relationship that they have now, because she's, I guess for him, starting to feel like she's slipping away. Usually sometimes when that happens, a man will kind of let go of whatever else he's doing on the other side. And so where Kai is going wrong is that because she feels her grip slipping away, she started to give like sort of desperate vibes. But at the same time, I never felt like Kai was on the show to really be with him anyway. She has a business. She got 2 kids. I don't think in her right mind she would really want to be with him and be his wife, just because of how he carries himself and conducts himself. And on top of that, now when it comes to Alexia, because Alexia is now showing that she's not about to stand for the disrespect that Darian has been showing her, she's like, that's why she didn't, she decided not to go on a date with him, because it's like, okay, so, you want to keep playing with me and giving this girl business about me, telling her about me, and making her feel like I'm insecure about her, and that's really not the case, because I don't think Alexia is insecure when it comes to Kai. It's more so about what Darian is doing and what he is allowing her to do. And that is why Kai has been playing her cards the way she felt like she could. Like, he's been giving her an inch and she's been taking him out. Like, and now that, like I said, she's losing the grip. She was asking all these questions and pushing. So now that Alexia has kind of, I guess, had her eyes opened a bit, right? She's now going to focus on herself. I mean, I don't blame her, honestly. I mean, if somebody is blatantly doing stuff like that, and if my boyfriend is allowing another woman to feel some kind of way about me and then even mention my name, like, that's okay. When it comes to our relationship, I feel like you're not protecting us. in a sense. So if you're not protecting us, I'm going to go about my business and do what I got to do in regards to how this experiment is going. So I think Alexia took the right pathway in terms of picking herself when it comes to what's been going on. And so now it's just seeing where she goes from here. Are you going to continue to keep walking away, or are you going to allow Darian to pull you back in again? And also when it comes to Darian, he doesn't care. He's just playing. He doesn't like when pressure is being put on him, like we all said. And so because of that, I guess guys like that, when it comes to pressure, that's pushing them towards commitment. They always want to have their option. And when they start feeling pressure, they start pulling back and moving away. And just like with the situation with Alexia, the person that you feel like is in your corner is starting to back up. Now you got to start trying to do things to move forward. That's why he said no to going out with Kai. I don't really think if Alexia was showing this much disdain for how he has been treating her, he would have never let go of Kai. He would have went on another date with her because he's trying to go along with the process. He's just trying to have fun. And the other part is that Alexia hasn't been requiring enough of him. So now that she's actually doing her own thing in a sense, he's starting to feel the heat. And whatever it is that she's offering him in his relationship, he doesn't want to lose it. So now he has to try to figure out, what do I do to keep her? So part of that was not choosing Kai again. And for Alexia, it was choosing not to go on a date with her current boyfriend, which is Darian. So, yeah, that's how I see it for them.
I appreciate it, Brittany. Bars as always. Chef J.
So, most of my smoke is going to be for Darian. So before I get into Darian, let me give a round of applause to Alexia for this week talking about herself and herself only. Thank you, Jesus, Jehovah, God, everybody above in the clouds that have rained a light on that girl. Thank you, Jesus. Woo! I was glad that Love and Basketball showed up and Monty and went on and took her on the date that was for her. And she did not mention or think about or talk about Darian one time. Thank you. Okay, but I'm about to talk about Darian. Let's get into Mr. No Accountability, manipulating, male chauvinistic, narcissistic, childish, want to play games, non-rapping, non-game having, egotistic little man of a person. Okay, Darian, baby, you got two different women saying basically the same thing to you on two different levels in your life. One is 14 years in the game and one is 4 weeks in the game. And they both are sick of you. Okay. They both sat there and was talking about how you keep talking about the other one. We started the episode with Darian chasing her Alexia out to the car, talking about, why are you concerned about this other woman? No, sir. No, sir. She's concerned about why you behaving the way you doing on this TV show, why you are embarrassing her on this TV show like this by trying to make an excuse through Dr. Nicole's words on why you want to keep going on a date with this girl. Go on a date with this girl because you like this girl. Stop trying to manipulate the situation into something else. That's just what you want to do or whatever. And she's sick of you not putting her first. That's what she's tired of. She's not tired of Kai. She don't give a damn about Kai. Only you do. Okay. Then you get on the dates with Kai and you want to be on a date with Kai just talking about Alexia. Boy, what? Why are you pitting these two women against each other? For what? Because that's all you're doing. So now Kai's sick of you talking about Alexia because all the other weeks you want to talk about, oh, she's intimidated by you. She knows what I like, which is you, and all of this stuff like that. So if you like me, she's intimidated by me. You don't want to be there. You're not happy there. You're happy when you over here with me. Well, why are you still talking about her? Oh, because I love her. Well, go be where you love. Like, that makes no sense. Stop entertaining me if you love her. If 4 dates with me has not made you stop loving her, stop picking dates with me. So I know everybody want to give Kai flack for it, putting her foot down. But Kai said, and I'm not about to be no Alexia. And I'm not mad at her. Okay, because I'm not about to take 14 years to figure out you ain't it. Period. Okay, bye-bye. Going on. When we go, and when he got to the part where Alexia's about to go on her date, he want to sit here and apologize. I was with him. I was with him for a hot second. I was with him. I was like, yes, he is about to give an apology. Thank you, my Lord Jesus. I appreciate him. And then that man said, and I need you to apologize too. I said, is somebody else in that daggone room with her? Because I'm like, who the hell else needs to apologize? What the hell? Okay, first of all, don't give me an apology if you're expecting anything from me. You don't even expect my forgiveness for your apology. If you genuinely want to apologize for something you know you did wrong, just give the apology with no expectation, period. Because I owe you nothing. I don't have to apologize for how I felt about you choosing to go on another date and disrespectfully choosing that way. I mean, that the manner that you chose to go on this date. Okay, I don't have to apologize for that. So you should not be coming in here looking for an apology from me about anything. Just give me your apology and keep on going. So he lost me all there. That's why I say narcissistic so freely. Okay, but that's just my opinion. Okay, don't nobody hold it to him. He might not be. I don't know. Anyways, then when he gets with Dr. Nicole, I said, okay, I'm trying to give him the grace again. He's trying to move forward in this relationship. He's trying to figure out a way to make it work. Everything he came out his mouth was, she is hard, she is guarded, she is this, she is that. Not one time did he say, I am, and what I'm doing wrong is, and how do I fix it? The one thing he said is, I'm trying to figure out a tactic. A tactic? Are you going to war? Like, this is what this is to you. Being with Alexis is a war to you. So you're trying to figure out strategies and tactics on how you can win the war between you and Alexia or whatever. You're not trying to be in this relationship. This is all a game for you or whatnot. You're trying to go to Dr. Nicole for validation on how you are moving in this situation. And poor Dr. Nicole, she had to go through so many different ways for him to figure it out, what he's doing wrong. And he still didn't at the end of all of it. I was just like, poor baby, poor baby. Like, I don't know what to tell you. He's a lost cause. He is stuck in some point of his childhood and has not matured from there. Don't waste your time, Kai, because Lexia, 14 years. You got 2 kids, mama. You ain't got that time to be playing with him. Alexia, thank you, baby girl, for saying no to the date that Dr. Nicole foolishly tried to put you on with him. Girl, no, don't play with me. Give me Monty back, because I like Monty. Go ahead and go on a date with Monty and let him sit at home like you've been having her sit at home for the last couple of weeks thinking about this relationship or whatever. Have him sit at home and think about the relationship that he keeps jeopardizing by going on these dates with Kai just so he can escape from his reality with Alexia. Okay. And then he kept talking about the feminine energy, this feminine energy or whatnot. So we was all assuming that he wasn't getting the feminine energy from Alexia. Well, the feminine energy is shut up and don't say nothing to what I do. Long as you're staying in your place and you're not doing anything against what I want to do and saying anything and speaking up against how I want to move, we're good. Because basically what he told Kai in his confessional is, I just need you to chill because I have something over here already. My nice little chocolate pretty thing over here already. So I need you to shut up, sit tight, and just enjoy the ride. So you want your cake, your ice cream, your party, your Doritos, your Kool-Aid. You want the whole daggone party, but you don't want to show up to the events and play along. No, sir. That's not how this works. I need you to grow up and get out both of these women's lives. That's all I got to say on that.
I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear. Hear you loud and clear. Sean.
Well, I don't know what to say. I think we covered it. So we just give a little rundown between Kai and Darian, and then maybe the whole situation together.
You can do if you want to. We were talking specifically about Kai and Darian's date in terms of the pressure that he has. But yeah, if you want to go into the next part, because that will shift the conversation, I can move it on to everybody else as well to ask a bit more about Darian as well. Go for it.
Okay, so starting out with Kai and Darian, and I said this very early on when we started to see how he was behaving with Kai in dates, and I think so many of us all said the same thing. He was giving her too much information, and he created a monster, and he just inflated her head to such an extreme with all the information that he was revealing about his relationship, and she is not the safe place for that information. You need help, you need guidance, you go to Dr. Nicole, you go to a therapist. Kai is not your safe place. You just met her, bro. Like, what are you doing talking about your woman of 14 years with Kai, who you don't know but 5 seconds? You don't know her. So I think he set himself up. I said self-destruction. I think he is a self-destructive person. And there are people out there like that. And I feel bad for him, because if you just see, I said it, that anxiety, he just always looks like he's on the verge of a meltdown and then about to run out the door and smoke a whole pack of Newports. Like, brother, you need to calm down, because when you are flustered, you are off your post, you make erratic decisions that set you up for failure. So now you got Kai, because she's been filled up like a hot air balloon. So she's ready to take off. She's like, where are we going? What we doing? The grass is greener over here, throwing out every nonsense that don't make no sense, because he don't know you but 2 minutes. How he know what your grass looks like, how it's mowed, and if it's really greener. And then she shows up, I'm not the help. Who are you? What do you want? Like, what do you see your role as? You're not the help. What does that mean? And I get where she was going, but people choose their words for a reason. I understood the subcontext of what she was saying, but she said, I'm not the help. To me, somebody tells me that's looking to be in a relationship with me, I'm not the help. That means I'm not here for you when the chips are down. I'm not here for you when stuff gets rough. I'm out the door. So if you ain't got your stuff right, if you having a rough moment, don't look to me. Look to yourself or find somebody else. But I need you fully 100%. And the moment you're not, I'm out the door. And those are red flags for somebody looking to potentially get into another relationship. You don't guilt somebody into a relationship with you, right? You let them see who you are. You share with them. But Darian ain't nothing to share with. He's not relationship ready. I don't know what that brother's ready for, but it's not a relationship, and it's definitely not a marriage. When you look at just everything, he just doesn't understand. He wants this level of vulnerability from Alexia, and I'll be the first to say, listen, that's a tough lady. And it takes a certain type of man that's going to be able to, move within the confines of a relationship with her. And it's possible. She seems like she has a good heart, but, she's a tough shell. And I'm sure she's got stories and experiences that lead up to why she does that. Some to do with Darian, and some just are Alexia's just makeup of who she is. So those two definitely don't need to be together. So as we segue on to the next topic, one of the things that stood out to me, I had a lot of hope for her when she was like, I want to go back out, on another date with Monty. And she allowed herself to open up and have great conversations with him on the date. She rejected talking about him, which are all good things that I think those are hard stances that she needs to do. I think as it progresses, I would hope she could talk something about their relationship that she's learned for herself, which are going to be indicative of things that she personally does not want to do in the future, right? So lessons that she can learn from whatever transpired in that relationship, she doesn't move forward with that. But the one thing, and I'll end with this, that kind of gave me a little question for her is, she said, I think she was in a confessional of some sort. She was like, Darian is going to need to step up his game in order to compete with Monty. No, sis, no, compete on the court. You got to go. Like, you are seeing the red flags. You're seeing how he's treating you. You're seeing what's transpiring. You're seeing this relationship that he's now having with Kai play out. There's nothing he can do to step up his game. There is no game. Just go, bounce, stop going the back and forth. That's how these relationships never end, and you stay in this vicious spin cycle of toxicity because you keep looking and hoping and wishing for that person to be something that they're not. So I'm just hoping she gets it and doesn't look for anything from Darian because he has nothing to give. He needs to give to himself. That's that on that.
Thank you for the holy smoke. We appreciate you. Speaking on that, because since you've spoken about, I'd love to throw it to the panelists as well. There was that part of conversation with Dr. Nicole where she did explore the conversation with Darian around Alexia and potentially creating that safe space. And I guess I want to ask a question: and you can correct me, is it safe space in this particular instance? Is it safe space has he failed to create a safe space to make her more feminine, which is what he keeps talking about, and for her to have her walls down? Or has she been hard and it doesn't matter what emotional space that he brings, she's going to have this wall up? Or is it a mixture of the two? You know what I'm saying? I want to ask that question to the panelists. Drew.
I'm going to go with it's a mixture of the two, because I would like to believe, given that she has been, about a professional basketball player, I would like to imagine that being a female basketball player, she had to amp up the masculinity aspect of things. And even just from her interest and how she is, this was the first date where, I don't know about anybody else, where I genuinely saw that she came to life. We saw a bit more of her personality. She actually had a full-on conversation. She smiled. And I think it had a lot to do with the fact that he introduced a date that she could relate to. He started with something that's a genuine love for her, which is sports. So in that aspect, I do think so. But Darian also, outside of the fact of him mentioning that they aren't very intimate right now, and I think that's a key point in revealing that she definitely doesn't feel safe in the space with him to be feminine, because she did say that was her not being intimate with him is a big part of how he treats her, how he reacts to her. So I think it's definitely a mixture of both. He has a lot of work to do in terms of how he addresses her as well. Last episode when they were talking to Dr. Nicole on the couch, I was wondering, am I missing something here? Because his energy was on 1,000. He was like, rah, 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 and you don't do this. And I was like, calm down, relax. And she was upset, but she wasn't giving any of that energy. So I do think, definitely a mixture of both.
Appreciate Drew. Krishnatha, is it a mixture of two? Is it one way? Is it other? What do you think? Safe space.
The thing is with Darian, a lot has happened in their relationship. Children have been born. There's a condo that Darian goes to. Apparently he goes to the Waffle House or wherever, and never comes home till the next day. A lot happens, right? And so when that happens, you teach me to be disappointed. You know, like there's like the trust factor is like, okay, you're probably lying. You're probably going missing. I'll probably never know the truth. So there's a lot of room for that. However, I do know that, like what Drew said, she is a former athlete. Even when he walked into the room, I don't know, like, and like I said, maybe because I'm a girly girl, but even the way that she sits sometimes and the way that she, you know, she's like, I kind of see the basketball, you know, like there. Like, I'm like, okay, Alexia, like I see it, right? But I think this is hard because when Darian was speaking to Dr. Nicole, and he was asking her, like, it seemed as though he wanted to really understand Alexia, but when he used the words tactics, right? Like what Chef Jay said, when he used the word tactics, I'm like, tactics? You want to know what tactics to use on her? So that really threw me off. And what Darian cannot see, or what he acts like he doesn't understand, is that underneath her anger and frustration, she's hurt. She's hurt that you don't see her as marriage material. She's hurt that you haven't married her. She's hurt that you've had children with other people and she's still waiting, right? She's hurt. And so I think that it may be a mixture of both, but Darian is definitely going to have to take responsibility for this gaslighting that he was doing, him saying, I'll apologize only if you do. Like, he's playing games, and that's not okay at all.
Totally here. Thank you, Chris Natha. Brittany, did you want to add?
Yes.
Space. Go for
it. Okay. Darian, like Chris said, is playing, and as I mentioned before, he is immature, right? What you witnessed is a man panicking, right? Because he's losing his grip. All the yelling and screaming is a tantrum. Nobody wants to deal with that. And I feel as though Alexia is starting to realize her worth, but she's not fully realizing it yet, because I had to really sit and think about, for the past week, what is keeping her there. Now, I can't pinpoint it, but what I can say is that a soul tie is involved. That usually sometimes is what keeps you around when you don't have an answer for as to why you can't leave. Like, it's that piece of that intimacy that you have with someone, the physical part and emotional. And so when that's not broken, it's hard to just walk away and leave, because a piece of you is lying with that person. So how is it that you're going to leave? Now, the other thing with Darian is that whole apology and the tactics thing just truly showed me his true colors. I don't really think at this point he cares too much about Alexis anymore. I'm not saying he doesn't care for her, Alexia. I'm not saying he doesn't care for her at all. But they've been together for 14 years. What, at this point, if he's not going to marry her, what more is he with her for? I mean, at this point, they just playing house. Like, somebody got to leave, right? He not going to do it because he's getting something from her that he doesn't want to let go of. But Alexia, the decision, I feel like, truly lies with her. And once she continues to keep realizing and seeing the lack of respect he has for her, and more of his concern is for him and not her, and it's a possibility he might not recognize it. But I'm not going to give him that excuse, because you're grown and you should truly want to be with the person that you're with. But I just feel like he's playing, and it's time for them to go. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But Alexia, the more she continues to wake up and realize her worth, I'm pretty sure she's going to go, because Darian not going to leave. Unless he meets someone that he feels is better than her for him where he is in life right now. Because right now, Alexia is fulfilling something in him. And like I said, at this point, my perspective towards why Alexia is still there is because there's a soul tie that's involved. And yes, she sees the disrespect and is making her very hot. And she's realizing that she has really not too much value in his eyes if he can keep sitting there allowing some other woman to talk about her like that, and as well as give her the ammo to do so. And he's doing the same. So she has been sitting there watching everything as it's unfolded. She's been observing, and then she gives her 2 cents. But it's not making her feel very well, feel very good. So at this point, the ball is in her court because Darian is panicking, and I love to see it. It's great.
Good points. I like what we're talking about here. I like this stuff. It's getting deep. We like it. Dr. Nundi, did you want to add safe spaces, or, you know, is Darian right about the femininity, or is it a bit of both?
So it's somewhat both. So looking at Alexia and her situation, it just, I don't know, it reminds me of Love and Basketball. So I'm getting a lot of movies from everyone this episode, but it's reminding me of the Love and Basketball situation. So if you ever seen the movie, you know, Monica is the basketball, you know, person, and Quincy also plays basketball. And if you watch the movie, you see that Monica doesn't have the whole, you know, femininity, the way that her sister and other people in her family might have had. So if you watch the movie, you see that she had to learn, you know, how to be feminine, how to be a woman, how to sit in the seat correctly. Because there was even a part where they went to a little party or whatever, and how she was sitting in the seat, her feet were kind of like gapped out like a guy. But she got a lot of that habit from playing sports all the time. And because that was the case, she had to learn how to sit in a chair correctly, how to, you know, dress and put on a dress and make your hair look nice and all these different things. So a lot of the characteristics that we see in with Alexia is like the same thing you see in the Love and Basketball type of movie with Monica. The difference is Monica wound up dating Quincy, who also played basketball. So I just feel like with Alexia, she needs somebody in her arena, somebody that understands ball, understands, you know, the whole thing, because it's a different world. I mean, I grew up playing basketball, so back in our days, you would say I was the tomboy, and a lot of different things I had to learn, you know, in order to be feminine and all these different things. I had to learn that stuff. Yeah, I had a mom and a dad or whatever, but I still had to learn how to put on a dress and do the hair and all this other stuff. And it wasn't because I was lesbian or anything like that. I just liked playing sports. But I didn't know what it meant to, you know, be like a Jessica, be a baddie and on Instagram. And some women are really like that. Like they don't know what it takes or what it means to do all that. They may not have a fashion sense or like to wear makeup like that or like to go get the weave and whatever else. They just, you know, natural, and they just like to play sports. But I do understand what Darian is saying in regards to the femininity that he's looking for. In Kai's case, she just kind of went about it the wrong way. But in regards to the safe space, I just don't see where Darian has created that, to be honest, because going back to some of the things that the other ladies said in regards to him going to her for the whole apology, that was just such a weak move, because that's not how you apologize. If you are coming to apologize and you're doing it on your own accord, you're doing it not in the sake of you're expecting anything back. You're doing it because you saw something in yourself that was incorrect, or you was trying to, you know, make the situation better. You go and you do that out the kindness, out your heart, and realizing that you made a mistake, regardless if somebody say, okay, I accept your apology or not, or if they give you an apology. But if you're going to be sincere about your apology, be sincere, not looking for nothing back. Forgive that person, forgive yourself, and move on. But that is not what Darian did. Darian went to try to manipulate a situation and, okay, I'm going to apologize if you apologize. That's childish. And this is exactly what we're seeing. For 14 years, this is what y'all been doing, and this is why you can't get to where you need to get to in life right here. But I feel bad for Alexia, because why would a man buy a cow if you gave the milk for free? You've been giving it to him for 14 years. What other reason do you really need a ring? Is it because, like you say, you saw your friends having, children and getting married and the whole nine? But if that's the case, you should have had that plan in mind when you first met this man, not kissing him 25 minutes in at the club or whatever you was doing, and then 14 years then went by, and now you saying all this extra stuff that you want to do. I'm sorry, but you did not already put in for that. Now, if he gives her a ring in the end and they get married, kudos to them. But a lot of times we continuously to do things backwards, and we expect to get a result out of it, but it's backwards. Like the word tells you and it gives it to you clear. We don't want to follow what God has given us in the blueprint he's given us. So we go out of that bound. We go out of what he told us to do what we want to do and expecting a result. A man don't have to marry you if he done been with you for 14 years. He may feel like, well, what's the point? We done did everything. We got a house. We share a car. We sleep together. So what's the need for that? So she's not really pleading her case for real in regards to why she really want this ring, besides the fact that she didn't seen her friends get it too. But in regards to that safe space, Darian he don't know what it means to even create one. And I feel like Dr. Nicole probably should have broke it down to him even better instead of just giving him analogies. Like he needs it straight, no chaser. It need to be written out, drawn out. I don't know, because he doesn't understand what it means to be a safe space to a woman. He's not focused on that. He's focused on himself, his needs, what he wants, and how he wants it. That's really the truth of the matter. Because if he was really sorry for whatever he said, then he really would have heard really would have listened to what Alexia was talking about. She kept saying he's not getting it. It's going over his head. Now, we may not know exactly what all she means, but he do. But every time Dr. Nicole asked about it, he said, well, I don't know. I don't know. Well, how are y'all together for 14 years and you don't have a clue on what she's talking about? You cannot be that clueless. You cannot be like the movie Clueless. You can't be. It don't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. You're a grown man. You should have some type of inkling in your mind as to what she's talking about. And it's like you're playing. At this particular point, y'all playing. This is the type of stuff that we continuously to witness. And, as Brittany said, as we said before, it is a soul tie. This is what happens when you have premarital sex and you have sex before marriage and you get connected with a person who may not even was supposed to be your husband from the first beginning. Just imagine if she would have saw in them 14 years, maybe it would have been best for me to leave this relationship because my husband could have easily been around that corner. But because you was in this soul tie and you entertained this relationship for this long, you missed it. You missed it. You missed the boat. You missed your opportunity. Now, I'm not saying God can't redeem and bring it back, but by you staying in this relationship, you are delaying it your own self because of your own disobedience. That's what that is. You delayed your own process. You self-sabotaging, you delaying it. She has every decision to get up and go. And I understand she may not know how to do that. But that's why Dr. Nicole and other people are there for a reason, to learn how to get up out of these situations. But entertaining people like this, wasting your time for 14 years, you can miss your own blessing. But Darian doesn't know how to create a safe space. He doesn't really understand that. At least he acting like he doesn't. And they gotta reach a little deeper. Dr. Nicole has to go deeper, just deeper across the board, because the surface level is not working with these couples. But that's my spiel concerning that.
Appreciate very deep introspective thoughts there, Dr. Nundi. Appreciate that. Bars in. I think also as well, just in regards, and so my voice keeps going, but in regards with Alexia and Darian, I think this, for me, looking at Alexia, honestly, sex or no sex, I think if you spend that amount of time with someone and you give them space in your heart, this will always happen. This will always happen. I think the sex is the added bonus of cream that keeps you there, but it's yes, there's a release of oxytocin and serotonin and, you know, the dopamine when you reach a high. But when you open your heart to someone, this is always going to happen, right? And she opened her heart from 18, 19, and it hasn't closed since. And like you ladies have said as well, Dr. Nundi as well said, and was it Drew had said earlier on, I think, you know, like, if you give someone this amount of time to figure things out, eventually we're going to have to ask you for some accountability, right? Because, like, what you really wanted for the situation, you haven't got, right? And at what point do you start to think, I may have to reassess it? Not only that, he's had 2 kids in between the time as well. Okay, not to say that he's been bad per se, but he's moved on. Whilst you've been sitting, you know, in the same position, almost waiting for him to come back. You know, we're going to find out next week. She gave up her basketball in the end. She ended her career early, okay, to try and make this relationship work, because all she knew was Darian. Okay, and I think this is where, I guess, good... friendships can't change anything per se, but I think if you have great friends, right, who can keep trying to encourage you that, hey, like, do you know what? This may not be the guy. This just might not be the guy. The seed might be planted enough for her to make a decision much quicker on, because 14 years is a long time, on and off, regardless. It's a very long time. Okay. And you know, I think with Darian and Alexia, I think especially for Darian's per se, I think a lot of his behavior is juvenile, right? I don't even see his... I know it can be a little bit... It can be construed as a little bit malicious, but I actually see a lot of his behavior as juvenile, almost as if like he has not... No, he hasn't emotionally matured in a lot of his behaviors. Like, and I think even when he's dealing with Alexia, you know, some of the stuff that I see him do, like I said, turning away when she's kind of getting deep and sharing her emotions. I think he's afraid of actually having a conversation around emotions. And we had this conversation in the very first episode, right? Kai was saying, how are you good with emotions? And he said, oh, I'm great with emotions. And I said to you guys, he said that he kissed Alexia, and that is not an indication of anybody being emotionally mature. You are able to kiss somebody after 5 minutes does not mean you're open with emotions. It just means you can kiss somebody. It just means you can get a little bit sexual. We can all do a little bit freaky around there. Trust me, all right? We can all knock boots like H-Town. But what we're asking for is emotions, right? What are those emotions that you're talking about? And I think you guys have pointed out as well, like when Kai did bring that up, that's when he ran away. This guy has issues with emotions. He has issues with true commitment, which he's pointed out, the fact that marriage, you know, the ring is a problem for him. So I think there's a lot of things going on with Darian as to why he plays with Kai, and brings and almost triangulates, right? Because I think his problem is, number one, he didn't allow... he didn't stop Kai bashing Alexia in the first place. He didn't stop her. He allowed it to go on, and now he's got the fruit of his labor. Right now, she's really sticking the boot in. This girl said, "Sorry, like, what about you're talking about obviously the respect for the relationship, blah blah blah." But then she went on to say, "So what about my feelings?" I said, "Get the heck out of here." I said, she really is sticking the boot in. You know what I mean? Like, and I know when she said it, because she had to even, like, there's a little bit of a pause in between before she said the answer. She knew what she was doing. She really wanted to add that dramatic pause. And what about my feelings? And I said, oh, this guy is dead. If she gets a hold of him, he's dead. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of watching Kai and watching Darian and watching Alexia. And I think Brittany might have mentioned it as well, and Jay as well. We do see a much lighter Alexia on the date. And she actually made a good point where she said, obviously, I'm not thinking about him and me. I don't know how 100% true that is, because I think she's still thinking about her and Darian. But let me end on this point and then pass it on. Alexia was so stressed. I don't know if you guys even notice it towards the end. The veins are coming on her forehead. Like, I actually went back to see earlier episode to see if the vein was there. It's not. Just in that end scene, she's so stressed. The vein at the top of her forehead comes down. 2 veins. That's how stressed she is and under pressure she is in this relationship and the situation. Girl, you are going to have heart palpitations and have high blood pressure if you continue this relationship. I don't know, cholesterol from somewhere. I don't know how it's going to come. Something's going to happen because, well, the amount of stress, emotion you're putting on yourself, to see veins coming from your forehead, I just said that, nah, this girl's stressed. There's too much stress from this situation. So I think she needs to take stock of her situation, 14 years, and look at it and goes, it may be a sunken cost. It's done. It's gone. It is what it is. And I said this to you guys before. I said, Alexia, if you go into that car and you come back in, you got to make sure you're done. So I hope that Alexia, by saying no to the date, is done. Because the moment you say you're done and you're not done and you come back, he's going to increase the amount of shenanigans he's about to do. Okay? So you're going to see even more bad behavior. So if you're done, you're done. Otherwise, don't walk out prematurely to try and show a power play. Don't try to walk out and say that you're hurt. Just deal with the situation at hand. All right? But let me pass baton. I don't know who hasn't spoken about the situation. Has anyone else? Everyone spoken? Anyone want to add? Before we pass into the third couple?
I want to say something.
Go for it.
I know we're speaking on feminine energy and everything. The problem is what we look at as feminine energy is not the same thing that Darian looks at feminine energy as. When he said he met Kai reminded him of Alexia when they first met. Kai came on aggressive, real like pushy and everything when they first met. So if that's not feminine energy or whatnot, then, you know, what Jess has, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that's feminine energy, then what Jess is doing, I don't know, she's beyond feminine or whatever, because you're saying Kai is okay when you first start the relationship until she started putting her demands down. She was a challenge until she brought the pressure. Isn't challenge supposed to give you pressure? I'm confused. You know what I'm saying? But now she's pressuring you because she's trying to make you come to a conclusion on what it is that you want as a man. So if I want a safe space from a man, I need you to be a man and be able to be clear cut and concise in your decision making. He's never going to give Alexia that space because he can't do that. It's 1 minute I want to be with this chick, 1 minute I want to be with the baby mama, 1 minute I want to be with you, 1 minute I want to be with Alexia, 1 minute I want to be over here, 1 minute I want to be at the studio, 1 minute I want to be at IHOP, Waffle House, everywhere else but. Like Alexia say, everything else is a priority but her. So if I don't feel safe with you, you're always going to get the masculine side of me because I'm in protection mode. I have to defend for myself. I have to make decisions for myself. I have to look out for myself. So you're just going to be another bro on the street as I pass you, even if we in the house, because I can't depend on you for my safety. I can't depend on you to protect me when I need you to. I can't depend that you're going to even be here to protect me when I need you to, because you can't even stick by your words of saying, I'm going to be home at a certain point. And you just disappear. We're going to link up at a certain point and you fall asleep. Like, I have no dependency in you at all. So you're always going to get my masculine side because I have to defend for myself at all times when I'm with you. And I'm one of them type of people. If I don't feel like you can lead me as a man, don't worry about it. I got me. I'm going to take care of me. And so you're going to always see a hardcore side of me. But when I feel like a man is a man and he could lead me and I could trust in his decisions, oh yeah, you're going to see the nice side of Jay. You're going to see the submissive side of Jay. Jay going to be in the kitchen cooking and doing all these nice things for you and stuff, making your plate and all these things for you. Because I could put my trust in you as a man. So when he goes off and he continues to break down her trust, and she peels a piece of armor for each thing that he does, you go get one baby mama. I got to put on my sleeve. You go get another baby mama. Now I got to put up my tights. You get another baby mama. Now I got to strap up. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to war with you every day because I can't sit here and depend on you to be a man that I need to protect my heart. Because every time I do that, every time I let my walls down, you go and do some foolishness. And every time I come back in town, we reconcile, we work through the foolishness, and then I go out of town, you come back, you do it again. And like you said, as we're going to see next week, that she kind of left her situation to try to make this work. Still, I don't know why she did that part, you know, but I kind of understand sometimes when you want to make it work with somebody, you sacrifice or whatever, but he's not making any sacrifices for you. And so now you're in a rock and a hard place trying to figure it out what to do and stuff. Like, I kind of feel for her in that moment. Like, no, she's never going to be able to let her guards down with you. With Monty, her guards were down. It was nice to see her guards down. She's laid back. She was relaxed. He was leading the conversations and whatnot. She was talking. She was communicating. It was light. It was beautiful. You go to her Instagram, you see a effeminate her. But like you say, when I got nothing but brothers, I'm around men all day. I'm fighting masculine energy all day long, and I got to come home to your BS. And you want me to be your peace, and you bringing me drama all day long. We fighting. We throwing blows because now you keep approaching me like I'm just one of your homies. Like you could talk to me however. You could treat me however. You don't care about my heart. So yeah, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a man every time if you're not creating a space for me to be a female. So yes, it is a part, like everybody says, there's a part on both parts of, on both parties and stuff like that they do have this issue where she's going to be masculine because that's just in her nature. And he's not creating a space for her to be anything but, unfortunately. So we can move on.
Appreciate that, Jay. Appreciate that, Chef Jay. Sean, you wanted to add, and then Bruno wanted to add. Go for it.
Sure. I just wanted to clarify a little bit, also to add to what Jay was saying. I guess from my understanding and watching the interactions with Alexia and Darian, I think the femininity that he was talking about was more of vulnerability. And granted, I don't think that he was creating a space where she could be vulnerable with him. But I think, and sometimes if you listen to Darian enough, and again, I made my point clear before, and I'm not saying they should be together, but sometimes when you just let him talk, and even the last episode, when Dr. Nicole was able to weed through that wild argument that they were having, where he was pretty much arguing with himself, and Alexia was just sitting there kind of quiet on the couch, you were able to pull things out of him in terms of what he is talking about. And I think he's looking for that safe space. He wants to be coddled and held. And that's one of the things that he said before, is that why he goes bouncing back and forth between the condo and their house, because whenever it gets heated, he can't take it. Now, there is definitely something to a man being a safe space for a woman and allowing her to be vulnerable. But there is also a case for the fact that it is what it is. And Alexia is a woman that just naturally, based on who she is more leaning towards masculine. I don't think that Alexia and Jessica would be friends, or we would ever confuse those two. And I'm not saying Jessica's good, Alexia is bad. I'm just saying two different opposite ends of the spectrum between femininity, and this is an example. And it doesn't make her bad. It doesn't make her whatever. I just think that those two are very different, and her masculinity shows up, not just with Darian, but in other interactions. I've, seen her in many other interactions, and even on the date when she was playing basketball with Monty, she was crap talking. All right, sweetheart, like that's what men would do. That's what men do when we play sports together. We talk trash. And she's comfortable in that space, and that's just who she is. And perhaps Monty is the man for her, and that doesn't bother him, or he doesn't think anything about it. And it doesn't, again, make her bad, but it's obvious. And that has nothing to do with Darian. And there are times when that comes out more, when she is frustrated with him and she shuts down or she dismisses him or tells him to do something, but she really doesn't want him to do it, like going out on additional dates with Kai. She didn't really want him to do that, but she said it, and Dr. Nicole called her out on it. So those are some things that she has to work out within herself, and just being clear. And lastly, I'll say that, look, their relationship has a lot of layers, and we're only seeing whatever footage we're getting to see and whatever lens we're getting to see of it. But I would say there's something that keeps her in that relationship, because she's not held hostage. Darian has not held her hostage. She can very easily leave, but she chooses to stay for whatever reasons those are. So, and she does need to go, but she needs to feel that way. And I'm hoping that she sees enough to know she's got to get it out, but she's chosen to stay there for those 14 years off and on and throughout all that drama, and she's tolerated it. So there's something to be said for that too.
As always, Sean, strong. Strong. No, I appreciate that though, bro. I definitely hear you on that. I do think she does carry her own masculine energy. That's why I actually asked a question about safe space for that. I think he could provide a safe space that would help her be able to share her emotions with him more. But I think she naturally does carry masculine energy. And that's something she will have to work on. I think she has to work on that going forward. I say she has to work on that. Well, hopefully she'll find someone, if she wants that kind of thing, who will be a bit more feminine with the guy, if that's what she wants. But yeah, I think that's something that she can work on to help in the future as well. Brittany, you wanted to add? Go for it.
Yeah, just to clarify on the point about the soul ties thing, because you mentioned that you have to give a piece of your heart. Most of the time, that does involve giving a piece of your heart and allowing somebody's space within you, or vice versa. So for that part with soul ties, yes, that's what I meant about that being a factor in it. Yes, it's because she did give a piece of her heart to him, and he is a sense of comfort for her and familiarity. Oh gosh, you guys know what word I'm trying to say. I can't say it right now. But yes, and also Darian has a problem with being held accountable. He doesn't want to take all the fault. That's why he said, but now you got to apologize too. I wish somebody would. You're not about to tell me I'm about to apologize, but then you bring up apologizing. Like, how rude is that? That's no. He gets no points for that one. Another thing is the part about Alexia mentioning this being a competition. Once again, like I mentioned in the past weeks, this is Alexia's inner child answering to this, right? Because she's been with him for so long. So she's answering from a place of when she was in her 20s. That's how I'm seeing it. So there's going to be certain aspects where with certain questions, she's going to want to answer in that way, because it's coming from a place of like, oh, since he's going to do that, then I'm going to do this too, right? Because part of her doesn't want to leave. Again, soul ties come into play. And part of her heart is with him. She don't really want to leave fully yet. But as we're seeing, this is about to come to a head. Because as I mentioned, the whole pressure cooker piece that I bring in, this is all coming at her so fast. And she's now realizing and seeing her worth and her value. And that Darian is not taking a lot of this seriously based on his actions. And so, like I was saying, I'm feeling like it's time. She's feeling like it's time to go. I don't think she's fully there yet, but she's starting to realize it. Like something is clicking, and I think in the whole femininity piece, I've been hitting that so many times. It's just like I feel like when it comes to that, and like Jay was saying about her being feminine, I don't feel like she has a place to do that because Darian keeps adding insecurity on top of insecurity. He keeps creating it where she's not allowed to even express the little bit of femininity that she may have in her the way she wants to express it, right? Because every woman expresses their femininity in a different way. It's not always going to look the same. It's not going to look the way Jessica, expresses her femininity, or it's not going to look the way I may necessarily do it. And when it comes to the point of her having more friends like that and being friends with Jessica, yeah, she can definitely benefit from that, because I know me when I was coming out of just always being aggressive all the time, like, and it's not as much as Alexia is doing now, but when I'm around women who are displaying a lot more femininity, and I get to see the treatment they get, whether it's from a male or a female, I'm looking like, how does she do that? Because I don't want to feel like I'm always the strong person in the situation, or feel like I have to keep my guard up with everybody. Like, do you understand how tiring that is? Like, and I feel like she's getting tired, and I hurt for her because that is a lot. That is a lot to hold on to when you keep putting a wall after wall after wall after wall after wall. Like, that is a lot. And it's coming from one person and a person that you love. And so part of her, I feel like, is feeling a little bit sad because it's like, this is really coming to an end. This is, even though they're in a relationship, they still have a friendship. And you see that bond there. And it's a great bond for them to have, but you can't have that when someone has been hurting you that much. Like, you have to recognize when it's time to leave. So yeah, that's my piece on them. So I'm just glad Alexia is starting to see things now.
Appreciate it. Strong. Okay, I hear that. No, I hear you. I hear you on that. She does need to open her eyes and see, or should we say, smell the Kenko coffee, they say. You know what I'm saying? Shine your eye and see correct. You understand? Yeah, the Nigerians would say. All right, cool. Let's move on to the conversation of the last couple. We've got Sean and Laronda. I don't know why I put that title there. I don't know. I find them interesting. I think, I don't know. I always rock back and forth. And I'm not even sure about them this episode because I felt like there wasn't a lot of content actually around them. I felt like they kind of focus a bit more on Eric and Darren a bit more. Maybe my mind wasn't as focused on them too as well. But with Sean and Laronda, I don't even have a title for them. I'm just going to put Sean and Laronda. What was you guys' thoughts on them this week and your thoughts around? I guess obviously he said he's not going to go on another date with Brittany. I say Brittany. He ain't gonna go. Yeah, it's Brittany. Is her name Brittany as well? Cool. Do you know what? I thought I was doing what Jay was doing, which is that you just start seeing names and just start putting names in there. But he also didn't want to go on another date with Brittany because for him it was too much. But he's I guess he's starting to learn to trust himself a little bit more. He went on a date and nothing happened. I think he's starting to learn to trust himself a bit more. I don't know. And obviously Laronda was a little bit hurt because he actually went on this particular date because she expected him not to go on it, I guess, partly, but also as well because she felt like if he doesn't trust himself, has she made a mistake kind of giving him trust? And I could understand that. I actually genuinely could understand that. If he can't trust himself, why give him that room to do this? But then again, you're on the show, so it is what it is. So I want to get you guys' perspective, what you thought of Laronda and Sean's interactions on this episode. Let us know your thoughts on this. And who should I start with today? Dr. Nundi, start off for us.
All right. So I got another movie in connection to this couple. And the movie that this reminded me of was The Best Man. Okay. So if we look at Sean, right? Sean in the beginning was, having a fit about Laronda going on dates, throwing up, all that we saw. But now we see him, a little more comfortable with his dates. And as he's being comfortable going on his dates with Brittany, he made the comment, as well as Laronda made the comment, that, he used to cheat a lot and be a player in his past. And this is his official relationship where he's put a title on it with Laronda. So this is how this reminded me of The Best Man. Because if you've seen the movie The Best Man, and Morris Chestnut, his character, he was an NFL player that, or before he was an NFL player, when he was in college, he was the player. And so when he met up with the one that was going to be his wife, she was the virgin, the undefiled, the untouched woman that in his eyes she can do no wrong. Well, if you look at the rest of the movie for The Best Man, he never thought that she did anything wrong. But him being a player, he realized somewhere along his journey that he had to stop what he was doing in order to keep her, because he didn't want to lose her from his cheating and player ways. As we see the movie of The Best Man, we see that she eventually did cheat on him with the best friend and so forth. But that movie of The Best Man reminded me of Sean and his character. He's been playing the whole time. And now that he's finally decided to settle down with one person, he's now projected his player ways and his fears on Laronda, and making it seem like, she may be out here doing something on the lines of what he was doing, because he always has some level of doubt with her. He's always, accusing or throwing accusations, but that's that guilty conscience of, what you did in your past, and it's possible that it can come back on you, as Terrence Howard said in the movie, that's karma. So it can easily come back on you. So you see him in the past like sweating bullets, because he really doesn't want Laronda to go on these dates. And as you see in the beginning of these of the show, Laronda was comfortable with, go on these dates, have your fun, blah blah blah. But at that time, Sean was like, no, I'm good, I don't want it. Now all of a sudden he finds somebody he connects with, and he wants to continue going on these dates. Now Laronda is starting to show herself a little bit. Now, you said you was okay with him dating. Now that he is dating, you're starting to be a little bit controlling. So it's starting to be like this flip, like they're flipping the game, like they're going back and forth with each other on this little game. Like, I'll let you go on a few dates, but don't get too comfortable. And if you see, with Sean, he kind of got just a smidge of being comfortable, because when they went on a date with Brittany, she was like, oh yeah, I missed my bus to go to Florida and to come on this date with you. And when he made that comment with Laronda, she's looking like, are you serious? You just met this young lady, and all of a sudden you're ready to drive her and go to Florida? You don't even know her. And I felt Laronda on that, because how you able to just jump up and go do for somebody that quickly, especially someone that's interested in you. But the insecurity of Sean cheating in the past, that is what was coming up for Laronda, but that was also somewhat coming up for Sean. And Sean knows, and he's getting scared by the minute, because it's clear like he doesn't want to go back to his past. Like, he's changed, or he is changing. He wants to settle with Laronda, and he doesn't want to continue the pattern that he's had in his past. So I will give him that much. Like, he's changing his ways. But he is projecting his past and what he used to do on Laronda. And we can kind of see a few clips for the next episode at the table when they were talking. And that's your past, and you're projecting it on her. And the fear that you have that what you used to do, your dirt, can now actually come back on you. That's why he's been acting the way he's been acting in the previous episodes. However, with LaRonda, she's trying to control the narrative a little bit. And like you mentioned before, Kojo, when she put her hand on the back of his head, when she did that, not only did she make the move of doing that, but she even said, well, do you think you may like her more than me? It was like she was trying to woo this man to get a good answer out of him while she was, feeling on the back of his head. And I don't know why some people do that, but that was kind of and excuse the phone in the background, but that was pretty telling to me in regards to how she was trying to control that narrative. Now all of a sudden you're a little salty. All of a sudden you are, concerned with if he really likes her or not. But that is not for you to be concerned with too much, because you said, hey, go on these dates, enjoy yourself. I guess she thought that he wouldn't actually enjoy his dates if she kept tight reins on him enough. And with LaRonda, she has to realize, and any lady or man for that matter has to realize, you can't keep a tight rein on a person like that. You just can't. Just like Dr. Nicole said, they got to be able to make their own decisions concerning this control environment and this experiment. But you're trying to do little things and say little things to control the narrative without allowing him to have the freedom that he has. And why this insecurity of him cheating in the past is coming up if he's never actually cheated with you, I'm not really sure. I don't know who said what or what the conversation was, but it's like this episode, that's the issue, the cheating. Because we didn't hear that part in the last 4 or 5 episodes, but we hear it now, the cheating. So I don't know if that was a production thing or what, but it's like, okay, what is really trying to be said with all of this right here? But I think it's more so Sean projecting his fears on her. She may not actually be doing it, but that's what he's getting from it. And that's why he's a nervous wreck. Kind of like how it was in The Best Man. He thought that, his future wife wasn't doing anything. And so, that's how that goes. But that's how I think it was for me.
Thorough. I hear you, Dr. I hear you. Yeah. The cheating thing, obviously, yeah, we didn't get to find out until just episodes, so it's kind of really, I guess beforehand it was more like, okay, he's scared to go there, but now we know, brother, there's real fear because this brother out here is a cerebral cheat. Like he's a serial cheat. This boy is a bad boy, and he's really trying to stay away from that. And I think that's probably what's making him really want to stay away from committing on his dates, especially now with Brittany, who we really liked. So yeah, added depth from that. I see you, Dr. Nandi. Let's get Chris Nantha. Give me your breakdown. What are you thinking about the Sean and LaRonda situation?
I finally, similar to what Doc said, I finally understand why he gets so overwhelmed about LaRonda going on dates. He is projecting his own insecurities because he knows what he used to do. And so that's why he's always kind of monitoring what she's wearing and watching and getting sick and overwhelmed, calling his friend and doing all the things, literally all the things that he's been doing. But if we rewind a couple of episodes when Dr. Nicole, I believe, came to their home and they had a talk with LaRonda and Sean. And he was crying about his dad, I believe, being a hard worker and him not wanting to be like his dad. I think he left out that maybe his dad could have been a serial cheater, maybe, because he was crying, pouring his heart out in that session. And maybe he didn't want to reveal that at the time. I'm not sure. But that could, of course, he didn't say that, but that could be part of it. I see that he does like Brittany. She even she wiped food off his mustache or something. I was like, oh, that's so couple-like. But so I did see that. And he was afraid to say that he liked her. And she said that, they have chemistry and everything. I thought him offering to go to her show was a bit extra. Because I'm like, why? Why would you go to her show? Like, that is so over the top. If Laronda had said something like that, Sean would have lost his mind. He was going crazy about, Sir James and, the hand, right? Kojo, we talked about the hand. And so, yeah, but he was thinking about going to Florida. I thought that was so over the top. Also, like you said, we didn't see a lot of them, but I feel like in the car, I don't know if Laronda was trying to get him to see that she either didn't want him to go out with Brittany again, or trying to see, kind of gauge how he felt about her. So there was I felt like there could have been a little bit of, I don't know, it was a controlling thing, trying to see if, because I know they do this thing with each other, like, I want to go on this date, but am I going to hurt you? Or because you chose this person, I'm going to choose this person. So they do kind of play a little bit off of each other. So I'm not sure what Laronda was trying to accomplish with that. So I don't know. I look forward to seeing more, but I'm just trying to see more of what Laronda really needs and whether or not Sean can give that to her. And I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can right now. So we'll see. We'll see. But I do know that Brittany looks like she's starting to catch feelings. So yeah, definitely. Because they connect and they're both creatives. So we'll see what happens.
If she catches feelings, he's finished.
He seemed really into her.
That's why. See, this is why I keep telling you guys, just let him not go on these dates, because he said himself, he knows himself better than anybody knows him. He knows that he's got a problem. Okay, when he starts getting there, he starts feeling it. Do you know what I mean? I actually understand the feeling of wanting to go to a show. I think he just saw the fact that, because it was actually a very big gesture for her not to take the public transport, to drive instead. It's a big gesture. It's a very big gesture, and maybe part of him wants to please people. So her doing that made him feel uncomfortable, not to want to do something in return. A bit like when people are not comfortable with compliments. So someone gives you a compliment, you give them one back. Sometimes I do the exact same thing. But they'll give me a compliment, but like, oh, you look so great too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe that's part of why he wanted to go all the way to her show. He felt like it was such a huge thing that she did. He wanted to reply. I don't know. Maybe that's why he did what he did. But I mean, to be honest, yeah, I'm glad he took the dates, because he looked like he was ready to fly.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed for sure. And she was too, it looks like.
I mean, she's ready to fly if he gives him a chance to. I hear that. All right, cool. Drew, talk to me. What are you saying? We're talking about, obviously, Laronda and Sean situation. What's going on there?
Even though we didn't see much of them this week, what I saw, I guess I have an unpopular opinion. Though I like Laronda, I much prefer Brittany for Sean. I'm going to explain why. From their interaction on this date that they had, I felt like there was more balance. Like, in terms of their relationship with each other, how they interacted with each other, their ideas, their interests. And I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, because Sean does seem a bit on the jittery side. So maybe he needs someone like Laronda to stabilize him. But I did like the rapport that he had with Brittany. And I mean, I think he's to be commended, because sis was putting out all the feelers. She made sure to put it like 1000%, but I like you. There was no question. The touching, the wiping of the mouth with the napkin. I was like, okay, girl, let him know that you are here to stay. On the opposite side, I guess I'm just not as sensitive in terms of the whole him going to drop her off. I kind of interpreted it like you. Yes, it might be a little bit extra because he doesn't know her that well, but I kind of just felt like he just wanted to do something nice, because what she did was a nice gesture. So I didn't really see it as such a big deal, but I get why it would be a big deal, him driving down with her by himself. On the opposite side, I think we found out more about Laronda from their interactions this week. I initially saw her to be very cool, very chill, very laid back, because that's the impression that she gave. That's what she normally says. Oh, she's never worried about anything. She's always so personable on her dates. But this week, I think we're starting to see a little bit more from her, because in the car, sis had questions. are you gonna go out with her again? What is it that you like about her? I was like, okay, so you worried. You're not as chill as you pretend to be. And then after, when they've all met with Dr. Nicole, she was tight. She was tight about the fact that he went on another date, and she was also affected by the fact that he wanted to do something nice for someone else. So I think from their dynamic, I'm starting to see, I know everyone is always wondering, like, what does she get from Sean? Myself, I also asked that on one of our panels. And I'm beginning to see that she relies on him heavily from an emotional standpoint. And so I guess it was just nice to see that perspective, that there is somewhat of a give and take in their relationship, in their dynamic, because she was butthurt this week. And I was just like, wow, I wasn't expecting that from her.
Appreciate it, Drew. Yeah, definitely hear you on that, on the complementariness of the fact that he's more the emotional one, so he kind of brings a bit of balance to himself and to Laronda in terms of the relationship. So yeah, definitely hear that. I think he does offer that aspect. Whether it's I genuinely think it's enough. Like, I think the first week we kind of said it might not be enough, but I think it might be enough. I think he centers her in terms of her emotional balance, in terms of bringing her to a certain place. I think she also does take a bit of pride in the fact that she may feel like she's the cause of why he has never cheated before, because like that comment she made about, since it's been he's not been cheated, I was like, girl, listen, don't be taking no credit. It's not because of you, okay? It's not because of you. It's because he's decided not to do that. But if he decides he wants to do it again, he gonna do it again, trust me, okay? It's not because you are so great and you are so amazing. It's simply because I think he has chosen and decided that this is the kind of relationship he does not want to mess things up with. So yeah, that was just my thoughts there. Okay, Brittany, what's your thoughts, man? Laronda and Sean, talk to us.
Okay, so when it comes to Sean, I've given him like a becoming daddy meter, because his jitters was just giving me like an addict, like I don't know if I can handle this type feeling, because she feeling me, I'm feeling her, I don't want to give in type of feeling. And I'm getting that from him because he's starting to get comfortable with her. And I think that's what he's afraid of. And like Chris was saying, I was definitely questioning whether or not his dad cheated on his mom, because now that adds another layer to why he does not want to be like his father. And that adds to the jitters. It's like watching somebody who is getting a high off of liking someone else, but he's afraid to do that because he's afraid of what he could possibly do. And he doesn't want to hurt Laronda's feelings. But at the same time, addicts, you want to go back to what you used to do. But when you're trying to change, it's hard to keep that barrier when you have something teasing you. And it's literally right in front of you. So that's why I think he said no about Brittany again. This time. And Laronda, I was happy to see a little bit more from her. And it was just enough, like you said, to really see, I guess, kind of how their dynamic is in their relationship. We got a little bit more of an opening towards it, but not a lot, but it was enough to kind of see how they work. And I feel like Laronda was a little thrown off because she didn't think that he would end up liking somebody or meeting someone that would catch his attention. And Brittany definitely did that, because sis was laying it on real thick. I was like, okay, girl, go ahead. Get yours. Right? And then she really laid it on when she said, I decided to miss my bus and, make sure I went on a date with you. And that just showed me that Sean likes when people do gestures like that. I can't think of which love language that would be, but it definitely fed that part of him, and it made him happy. And I don't know if Laronda is doing enough in that area for him. Yes, active service. Thank you. And I don't know how much of that Laronda is giving him. So that made him super duper excited. And yeah, his I don't want to become daddy meter was kind of off the charts when he was sitting next to her. You could tell he was shaking in his boots. Because at that point, I feel like that man wanted to run off with her because he would have never said that I would have drove her down to her show. Right? I really feel like that added on a little bit to that piece. And I do feel like him and Brittany have a great chemistry together. I just don't know how far it would go if you really think about it. But yeah, Laronda was definitely concerned, to say the least. And she was definitely taken by surprise. I don't really have too much more to say about them. We didn't see a lot, but we saw just enough to get a different look at how they work with each other. Because now the table's kind of turned a little bit. It was interesting for sure.
Yep. I hear that. Chef J. Just putting comments in the little chat. Chef J, go for it. Talk to us about Laronda and Sean. I mean, the little hand gesture she put on his neck there. She really likes scrubbing his neck. I still feel a bit odd when I see it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No, it wasn't just you. I felt a little cringe-worthy at that myself. And it wasn't just because she was rubbing his neck. It was what she was saying as she was doing it. You're questioning about if he likes this girl, and her actual words, the last part of it is, if she made you feel even better than I make you feel, or whatever. So when she said that, and that hand gesture, all I could think is mommy cat. When my kitten is getting out of control, grab you by the neck, pick you up, put you back over here. Like, I'm about to put you back in your place, or whatever. So that hand gesture was definitely a form of control. And I was trying to avoid it for the longest when Sean kept saying she likes to control. But Sean, you got it. She likes to control. She likes the control that she has over the other Sean. And that's what it is. It's like, my money, I provide you financially. I'm providing for you emotionally. I'm providing for you in every way possible so I can keep that control over you, or whatever. What is it this girl, and another thing that caught me is when she was saying in her confessional that she kind of felt that they have a connection, being that they're both artists or whatnot. So that was making her nervous, because now there's a part of the control I can't control, because I'm not an artist like that. I don't have that connection with him to keep full 100% control over this boy like that. So therefore, I could possibly lose you in that aspect. She has a codependency issue. So she needs to feel needed in the relationship. Like I was saying in the chat, her reason for not being with Sir James is because he's not going to need her the way Sean needs her. Sean needs her to iron.
Just say that again, Jay. Just come back on us. You know what I'm saying? Just come back on us. Let's not go too fast on that point. Just say that point again.
She has a codependency issue. And so her not choosing Sir James technically wasn't because she wasn't attracted to him or he didn't lead conversations. Is because he doesn't need her the way Sean needs her. Sean needs her for a lot. And she likes that feeling of being needed when I come home. When you start looking at it of, I don't need him financially. I don't need him in all these regards. I just want him to marry me. And it's like, okay, you want this very highly emotional, oversensitive man to marry you. But that's a draining trait that he has that makes no sense. So something about you must like it a lot to want to do a lifetime with that. You're a better woman than I am, because I couldn't even take it from my kid. Like, bro, like, calm down. All that crying is too much. Like, I can't do this or whatnot. You're throwing up. Why are you throwing up? Why is a sandwich half here? What's going on? Baby, keep it together. I can't do that. But Laronda likes it. She likes being the masculine one in the relationship or whatnot. Even though she does show her feminine side, she's the masculine one in this relationship. The way she carries the relationship, she's doing all of the support that we expect a man to carry. She's doing all of those things. She's, paying all of his bills. Like Britt, you said, you don't know what service she providing from. She providing all services for that man. Food, clothes, roof, car, whatever he needs. That's his mama. That's his mama. And so, it's just like, I still question what it is that she wants out of this, other than the need for being dependent on or whatnot. I mean, that's not a good thing to go for a long-term relationship, because at some point he shouldn't have to depend on you so much. So I don't know how that's going to work for a marriage in long terms. Sean, on the other hand, excuse me, he really does like Brittany. He is afraid of cheating. Definitely afraid of going down that path that he hasn't taken. He doesn't want to lose his money bags or whatnot. And if you're a struggling artist and I'm a struggling artist, the money is not going to be there all the time. Not saying that either one of them don't really have the money like that, but Laronda's is set fixed income. I don't have to worry about it. Whereas we're both artists, it's fluctuating. It's coming when it comes and it goes when it goes. So, these dates that are you going on, date to her studio, a date to Starbucks, like these are not big dates and stuff. So I don't know. Let me end on that note real quick, because my phone gonna keep ringing, but somebody wants my stitching right now so bad. But yeah, I don't know. These two are puzzling.
I appreciate it, Jay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Woo-hoo. Sean, give us your thoughts, man. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah.
Every time you say yeah, I just know.
One thing that it takes me back to a few, I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before that, when they were talking about how petty they were. And I kind of get the sense that Sean continues to date Brittany out of pettiness. And I don't know if it's get back for the couple of dates that Laronda had with Sir James, and if there's something about him wanting to have a leg up on her, especially because their power dynamic is off. So I kind of get the sense of that, and why he continues to go on dates with her. I don't even know if this was the third date, because the second date, listen, anything could be editing, but that second date seemed so brief. He just popped into the studio, she was writing a little song, and then he breezed right on out. So I don't know if he just did that because he's scared, he doesn't want to build a connection with her. I'm trying to figure him out. He's very confusing to me, and he's actually a little exhausting, because it's his emotions run the gamut. And I'm trying to understand what he's looking to get out of this process, what he's looking to get out of his relationship with Laronda. So I'm a little perplexed in terms of what he wants and what his stance is. Does he really intend to marry Laronda when he gets these supposed coins up that he's been trying to stack so he could be at a better position? So lots of confusion from him. He mentioned, he doesn't want to be like his dad. He said his dad was just a provider, but not in the house. But he's not a provider, and he's always in the house. So you're not like your dad. So he's he's just a conflicted kind of person, again, from my perspective, in terms of what I've seen from him. I'm choosing my words carefully because Laronda watches our show. She happened to be in our comments. And I got to say, I gained a renewed perspective from her, because, she shared some really good insight, and she was very open to hearing the feedback that we had to share. So anybody that's like that for me, they get a little bit more respect from me, because, and I kind of look at them a little different when you can look at yourself and be open to what people are saying about you, because that can't be easy. And I got that gist of her from, you know, our little two chat exchange in the comments of one of the panels she had a chance to watch. So that opened my eyes a little bit to her. Now, if I'm reading her right, the kind of person that she is, she's a very analytical person. There's structure with her. So she's probably using this to weigh things out, to really see if Sean is going to step up to the plate and marry her. And I see her being like, bro, I'm tired of this. I got to move on. You know, she said exhausted. She's mentioned being stressed by all of the emotions that Sean has, displayed. So I would see her as being the one to walk away from this situation. And interestingly enough, we got the little tidbit that she said he had cheated in all of his previous relationships. Very interesting. You know, so I don't know if I think he's just scared of commitment, right? He doesn't want to commit. He just wants to, be free to kind of do his thing and do this comedian entertaining thing. He doesn't really want to be restricted into a marriage, but he wants all the benefits of a marriage. And I don't think Laronda is going to stand for that much longer. I think she's going to send him on his way. One of the things that she said to me that I thought, and listen, she displayed some controlling tactics. I saw that. But another thing that I saw that she said to him, which to me lended its ear that she might be willing to let him go, was when he was talking about Brittany. She said, what if she can give you things that I can't? What about that? Right. And I'm kind of paraphrasing, but in essence, she didn't like break down and cry, but she said, like, it was almost like food for thought. What if this person really is somebody that can give you what I can't? And I think that is almost like anytime you exit a relationship. I know in the past when I've exited relationships, there's a point that just kind of starts the chain of events. And I think that might be the point for her chain of events, and his connection with Brittany, and seeing, how he kind of tends to move in that capacity with somebody he's just met, and her saying, maybe she can give you something that I can't. She might not necessarily want that right now, but I think her mind is starting to think that seed has been planted, and I think it's likely that she's going to walk away.
I'm hearing you, bro. Strong. Is she willing to walk away? Okay. Okay. I can rock with that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if she's willing to walk away. I don't know how willing she is. I mean, I definitely think she's probably more. I definitely think she's more willing to let go than he is. I definitely think that. I just don't know how much. I don't know how much more she's willing to let go of the vice grip, because she has power in this relationship. She has somebody who and it's. I say it in a sense of like not. This is not. I don't see it as the destructive control, but more of a case of the power levels are different in this relationship. Do you know what I mean? Like, she seems to have the greater power in the relationship, but I think where she may be more willing to is once she and I think it's starting to happen, is realizing the grips of control begin to release, that he may have the now potential to step out. Not that he is, but he may have the potential to. Now he's gone on these dates. It's like something's awoken in him. I wonder if that will then potentially make her feel like, okay, the controls I have now no longer seem to work to keep him in place. Because I think you were saying, Sean, which is some great points. I think people stay in these relationships because it benefits both parties. It benefits people. I think there's a benefit for her in the sense of the fact that she knows every move he's going to make because she controls the moves. And it's so long as he works within the remits of those moves, I think she'll always be cool in that relationship, barring obviously if he doesn't get married. But I think once he starts to show a different angle, I think she may feel like she needs to leave the relationship. Like I'm still obviously, I'm still thinking about Sir James. So to be honest, I think we need to bring back Sir James again one more time, just to make sure, you know what I mean? Just to make sure she actually made the right choice. She might have made a mistake, you know what I'm saying? Because I think she's making and I think what's happening both of them is they're making choices based on other person's feeling, which I guess our couples want to do, but they haven't been doing. I think they might overthink about the other person, and so they're not really going the round. They're not really going the full way through this particular process. But I definitely agree with you. I think she is more likely to release the relationship. So I definitely agree with that, Sean. Definitely agree with that. Wait, who hasn't spoken? I don't know if I've missed someone out. I think has everyone spoken? Oh, mad. I didn't even realize. Was there any other final points anybody wanted to add about Laronda or Sean? Anything burning? Go for it, Brittany.
I'll just say this. In regards to Laronda, she's definitely the kind of woman that would bring somebody back. Because I know I would. If I'm trying to make a decision, I'd be like, oh, can I go on a date with this person again? Because now I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. And I feel like that's the space she's in. I was talking about that last week, how she's trying to figure out whether or not it's worthy of her to stay with Sean or not. Because the thing she's seeing, is a little concerning, right? Now that it's coming up a lot. So she wants to get married. That is her goal. She is a woman of her word, which it seems as though to me, she's the type of woman, she wants what she wants when she wants it, which is not a bad thing. But she's the kind of woman that's not going to waste her time either. But then again, as you say, there is a codependency aspect there. And they're both benefiting from the situation. So for her, it's either do I stay and be comfortable, or do I leave and, go find something else? Because she could definitely find somebody else to be with. That's not the issue. But she loves Sean. So it's a toss-up for her. But then again, I'm watching her. I see how she observes. I see how she is thinking and asking the questions that she's asking, because she's not asking them for no reason. Like, they're very specific questions. And she's looking for a specific answer, or she's looking for an answer to match the decision she's probably going to go with, which is to walk away, which I said last week she's going to do probably, if she does not see a change in Sean. And that change has to make sense for the marriage. Otherwise, what's the point?
I rocks to that. Any other contributions before we round up? No? Cool. Listen, I think it's been a really good conversation. We've actually come towards the 3-hour mark anyway. But it's been a really good conversation. I think we've flashed out some really good stuff, especially with the Jess and Eric. I love the fact we had two different sides on that as well. Love the perspectives on Darian and Alexia as well. I'm looking forward to next week, see what Sean and Laronda bring to the table. I think we just need a bit more information around the relationship. I actually do think they got a good chance of making it through going forward. Whether it's the most healthy, I thought they were the most healthiest. I think it could become the most unhealthiest if I say if I think if it stays this way, I don't think it works long term. I generally don't. I think this becomes a problem in a few years' time, because I don't know if he's solved his issues around the emotional aspect in terms of how he handles himself. Man can't be crying and throwing up when Laronda doesn't come home at 8:00 tomorrow. Like we can't have that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that's solved. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that will wear itself out. So hopefully we see for the progression of the show them sorting out some of those issues, because I think that's something that is really important to look into if they're going to be successful. But yeah, let me get everybody's roundup. 1 minute roundup. 1 minute roundup, guys. So I'm gonna start off with Chef J because you're at the top of my screen. Chef J, talk to us. 1 minute roundup summary. Oh, you're okay. Oh, okay.
No, I'm good.
Sure?
I'm good.
Oh, you sure? Okay,
Good.
sorry.
Yeah. No. As far as Laronda and Sean, Laronda and Sean, I feel like they still have a chance to make it or whatnot and stuff. They do have to work out some issues. Sean does need individual counseling for a lot of his childhood traumas. Wouldn't hurt Laronda to go get her own individual counseling as well to deal with any issues that she may be struggling with, as well as the codependency thing goes or whatnot. Jess and Eric, those two definitely need counseling together and apart. They both have to work on the insecurities. I'm going to say what I said again last week. If you created insecurities in me, and this time I'm talking to Jess, if you created insecurities into Eric by doing what you did, by moving so fast after a break or whatnot, it's going to take you to help him numb down those insecurities, meaning that you can't keep playing on his jealousy and expecting him to act differently when you want him to and stuff. Oh, shoot. I lost me. Sorry. My dog started walking all across the screen. But Bambi, move, mama. And as far as Alexia and Darian goes, I say you gotta just cut your ties and just move on with the two of them. I would love to say work with it and get through it, but I don't see nothing there to work with anymore. So, and just go ahead and move on. Sorry about my background noise. Sorry,
Chef J. It's all good. We appreciate you. We understand. We understand, Chef J. Don't worry. We appreciate you. Brittany, give us your 1 minute summary, please. Oh, sorry, you're on mute.
Okay. When it comes to Eric and Jess, Eric is in transition mode, I feel like, because he's really, really thinking hard about whether or not Jessica is, yes, trustworthy, and can she handle the things that come with growing and becoming an adult. And the only way Jess is going to be able to do that is if she puts herself to the side a little bit and lets go of the selfish aspect of needing attention and validation from him all the time. Because when you're in a relationship, you have to let go and sacrifice parts of yourself because you're becoming one. You got to worry about him and he got to worry about you. Now, when it comes to Laronda and Sean, Laronda, like I said, is at the point of trying to figure out what she wants to do. Is she going to stay or is she going to go? That's what I'm seeing because she's asking certain questions. She's looking and observing and just trying to see what's going to happen. And then the only way she's probably going to stay is if Sean worked on his issues and those start to change and he has to put the pettiness behind him. And the last thing is Alexia is moving towards gaining clarity. And I feel like once that happens, she's going to be going for good. It's going to take some time probably, but she's going to walk away at some point because it's too much. It's too much taking on that much pain from somebody that you love. In reality, that it just hurts. And no human being can withstand that much pain like that, especially as fast as it's coming at her. So that's my assumption for everybody.
Appreciate it, Brittany. Appreciate it. Dr. Nundi, give us your 1 minute summary, please.
All right. So Darian and Alexia, I just feel like they need to go ahead and end their relationship so they can focus on each other individually. Sean and Laronda. With Sean, he has to stop projecting his fears and doubts on Laronda, and Laronda's just getting to that point where she's kind of tired of it, as well as she's okay with supporting and dealing with Sean at the same time. As for Eric and Jessica, Jessica does have to take some form of accountability in regards to, her leaving. Well, even though they said they took a break, you moved on to another man in 1 week. You do have to own up to that. With Eric, he has to just continuously to communicate better in regards to what's really going on with him and him trying to, save his career and going into retirement. But for all of them, they really just need to come to that decision at the end of the day if they're really going to work this out and go toward marriage, or if they're going to leave. Nobody should stay in a relationship where it's toxic, where you feel like you're wasting your time or you're supporting people and their bills and their needs, but you're not really getting a whole lot of it in return. But hopefully we'll see more in the next episode. And yeah, that's it.
Dr. Lindy, appreciate you as always. Drew, give us your 1 minute summary.
Okay, in regards to Alexia and Darian, I'd like to say that they would end their relationship, but honestly, I don't foresee that happening. I don't particularly think she's moving away from him right now. I think she's just in a state of being frustrated and maybe a bit annoyed. And so she is pulling away, but I don't think she's going anywhere. She hasn't left in 14 years. She's not leaving. But I do think that the relationship needs to be concluded. And she needs to work on her individuality. As it relates to Eric and Jess, I think Eric needs to pick a struggle. Do you want someone who is beautiful, or do you want someone with depth? Because what you signed up for is what you signed up for. You went on a date with someone with depth, and you chose not to go on a date, a second date, because they didn't look the way you want them to look. So pick a struggle. I think Jessica just needs to work a bit on her insecurity. She comes across a bit shallow sometimes, especially when she was on her date with, I think his name was Chris. She was all about the physical. So in that regard, she would need to work on that. And they need to sort out their trust issues. That's something that both of them have to work on. Who is left? Sean and Laronda. I like these two together. I think so far they are the healthiest representation of a relationship. If they just get a handle on, and by they I mean mostly Sean, gets a handle on his emotions, I think these two could actually end in marriage at the end of this process.
Appreciate it, Drew. Appreciate. Sean, give us your 1 minute summary.
Okay. So for each couple, I'm like a 90s and early 2000s R&B head. So I got a song for each one of them. Now I'm not going to sing it, but I'm going to tell you the title. So for Eric, and Jessica, what I think about them is they're struggling to speak the same language, right? And I think their struggles are to figure out what they really want from each other, and if they can truly give that to each other, right? So I think that needs to be determined. Men don't usually stay around after a woman has cheated, and he has chosen to stay for whatever reason. So perhaps there's hope for their relationship. So the song I have for them is Understanding by Escape. They need to understand each other. And that's where I see those two are struggling. Next, we have Darian and Alexia. There's not even any commentary for this. I even got two songs, a new song and an old song. So we got Separate by Avant, and then we got Truth Hurts by Lizzo. So she just needs to bounce. They need to exit stage right and move on. Lastly, Sean and Laronda. It's the old school classic with RL and Deborah Cox. We Can't Be Friends. And that's my final commentary.
I don't know what's got into Sean out here. Sean, what a finisher. Love it. Chris Natha, go for it.
That was great, Sean. So with Laronda and Sean, I feel like he really has to continue to, or really start exploring his core issues. Why do you want to cheat so bad? Why did that even start in the first place? Because until he deal with that, that may come up even in a marriage. So hopefully they will freely allow each other to make decisions without trying to impact or manipulate the other person. Like, are you going to go on this date again? So freely allow each other to make decisions. and not trying to be in control of that. And also with Alexia and Darian, I want to see Alexia continue to open up. I felt like we started to see a new side of her on her date, and I would love to see more of that. She was smiling. She seemed like she was just open and having a good time. I really don't have anything for Darian. I don't. Grow up, Darian. Deal with your stuff, Darian. God bless you. All right. So Eric and Jessica, they're going to have to deal with their trust issues. It's really a big deal, and clearly they can't move on. So Jessica's going to have to own what happened. This is what happened. I wasn't there for you. You feel I wasn't there for you, and I just ran off and started something shortly after. She has to own that. And I think sometimes you just got to sit in your stuff and own it, and then apologize. And then hopefully there'll be forgiveness if they want to actually move towards something. However, similar to what Drew said, Eric has to make a decision if he really wants her or he wants somebody else who's deeper. And so he can't get both. It may not work out getting both with Jessica. So good luck to them. But they have to make some really tough choices and be honest with themselves.
Appreciate Chris Nuther. Appreciate you, Chris Nuther. Guys, we have come to the end. Yeah, we've hit the 3-hour mark. Really appreciate the good conversations today. Loved the directions we took here as well. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm looking forward to the next installment of the show. I think I feel a bit more upbeat after this conversation about maybe not about their necessary relationships, but about the show. I still don't really have much confidence in some of the relationships, but just after having a conversation with you guys, I feel a little bit more upbeat about the show, and I still don't get the premise of it, like why anybody wants to put their relationship under stress like this. But hey, this is TV, and you've got to do what you got to do for the bag. You understand? Secure the bag. And so I get it. But I do look forward to the next episode and seeing what happens in terms of progression, whether Dr. Nicole will have more conversational sit downs with Darian and Alexia. I think they need it to find out what Alexia's head's at and where she wants to go. And like I always say, if you're gonna go. If you're not gonna go, stay. You know what I'm saying? Like don't waste the opportunity of going and coming back. It just causes more issues for you. But yeah, in terms of obviously as well, Jess and Eric. I mean, I have hope for them. I actually do have hope for them. But I don't know how long it's going to work. I think he wants depth, and he ain't going to get it from her. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think she will have what he requires. Plus, I don't know how the trust can be rebuilt. If she left you while you were down, I just don't know how you can trust that again. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you can trust that again. Especially as she went and chose somebody who was also a footballer. It's like a double whammy. It's not even like she chose someone separate. She chose someone who is in the same profession as you, which basically she's looking for somebody. What the mullah, sir, my friend. Surely the fear in your head must be, if I don't have money, what will happen? Hey, Charlie, it's better you go and find another waifu. You know what I'm saying? No offense to Jess, I think she's amazing. I just think that she has a standard that she wants, and there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, nothing wrong with that. But sis, this might not be the right relationship for you. It might not be. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, men don't forget these stuff. Just saying. Finally, as well, Laronda and Sean. Appreciate. I like them. I do like them. I just, one or two tidbits, we can change that, and I think they will be on their way. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for being dedicated to being on the show. Audience members, you've been superb. The comments and the conversation in the comment section has been A1. It's been clean, it's been funny, it's been educating. I picked up a few points also from the comment section as well. Like y'all brought it this week. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep that up. Let's have that same kind of energy next week. We will be doing our Married at First Sight lives. I do apologize when I was in Wales. I was in no signal zone, so there was no way that we we're going to be doing any lives on a Thursday. But this Thursday coming, we will have a live on Married at First Sight. Yes, I think our usual slot time is usually 8 p.m. I think it is. So 8 p.m. CST time. And so we'll kick off the show on a Thursday night, get that conversation flowing about the new season. There is a lot to digest in this new season. Like, I watched those 2 hours and I got tired. I said, oh my days. Like, not necessarily it was bad. It was just more of a case of just things that were popping out to me. I want to just say, I'm not gassed about Bowen Young. I'm sorry, I just can't, because man's got a lot of insecurities. Young, he wants a clingy girl, and that's positive. I said, what in the world? You want a full-on clingy girl? We're celebrating that. I'm sorry, I can't celebrate that. I can't celebrate that. Yeah. But anyway, let me not go to. That's not the conversation. That's not the conversation. We are talking about put a ring on it, guys. See us on Thursday this week coming up, and next week we'll be back here on Saturday, same time. I think 7 p.m. works. 7 p.m. on a Saturday, and we'll kick it off again about this particular show. So we'll see you guys soon. Let me put a little outro, and it'll be out here, baby. Yazoo. You know what time it is.